Extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
10 years ago, who could have predicted what the internet would bring? Streaming videos, voice assistants, smartphones, smart homes, work from home. But here we are, wondering what the next 10 years will bring. Whatever it brings, Lumos 100% fiber optic internet is ready with incredible speeds and reliability. So you can do more and be more than you ever thought possible on the internet built for the future. See your future at lumosfiber.com/future.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Culliver's going to have another chance for a return. Far side of the 5. England in the near side of the field. Culliver has a big lane. He's at the 30, 35, gets the corner turn. Culliver may take it. He's at the BC 30, 25, 20. Culliver to the 10, the 5. No flags. Touchdown, Carolina. Culliver, 95 yards to the house.
Yeah, these seniors have really given us a lot of joy over the last 4 or 5 years, and our fans just come out and be that extra person to help us win the game. And NC State played really hard the other night. Everybody watch this game and feel like that we won't have a chance, and our guys will be ready to play.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria is the producer of the program. We do a lot of joking around on this show. We make fun of everything and everyone because that's just the way I go about
ourselves. Even,
yes.
We like to laugh at ourselves.
Exactly. But if you are just tuning in, if you're just flipping on the radio, we got to be there at the start of the Adam Gold Show, that nobody has ever said in the history of this earth. Normally we have Adam Gold Show behind us. It's kind of cute. Today, can you order a 2-shot? I have no idea what that is. What is a 2-shot?
Oh, I got you.
Can you order up a 2-shot? Again, not sure.
There you go.
What is behind me?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes.
Should never have been there.
No.
Mack Brown fired at North Carolina. Should have never been there because it should never have gotten to this point. The university fired Mack Brown today.
They did.
So I want to read the official statement from the university. Bryn Renner has been doing radio for UNC. He's going to join us in just a couple of minutes. So this is the official statement from the university. This season will be Mack Brown's last as the University of North Carolina's head football coach. Director of Athletics Bubba Cunningham on Monday informed Brown, who coached UNC from 1988 to 1997 and then returned to Chapel Hill in November of 2018, that he will not return as head coach. Brown will coach the team Saturday in its season finale against NC State at Canaan Stadium. A decision has not been reached on whether Brown will coach in a bowl game. Quote, Mack Brown has won more games than any football coach in UNC history, and we deeply appreciate all that he has done for Carolina football and our university. Over the last 6 seasons, his second campaign in Chapel Hill, he has coached our team to 6 bowl berths, including an Orange Bowl, while mentoring 18 NFL draft picks. He and his wife, Sally, have done an outstanding job supporting the Carolina community, including raising funds for UNC Children's Hospital while hosting other popular events such as the Ladies' Day Clinic, but both also have been terrific in leading our program during some incredibly tough stretches, including the tragic passing of wide receiver Tylee Kraft this season. Coach Brown has led the Carolina football program back into the national conversation as we improved the program's facilities, significantly increased the size of the staff, invested in salaries, and bolstered our nutrition and strength and conditioning programs. He has also been a dedicated fundraiser, strengthening the football endowment while also supporting our other sports programs. That is, at least I guess in part, the statement from the University of North Carolina. But here's the thing, and I said this earlier when we broke in at about 10:40-ish to produce the news, because Mack had been telling people that he was planning on coming back. And in my heart, I believe that the university was hoping that last year would have been the last year. And that with Drake May going to the National Football League and having 5 straight years of NFL quarterback and knowing how difficult it is to put Band-Aids over places on the roster, that this was always going to be a difficult season and the future should be in the hands, I'm not even going to say a younger coach, because it isn't about that. It's about the next coach. Mack Brown was never going to be the right coach for the next 3-4 years, whatever it is. And the program with Drake May walking away, going to the National Football League, was, I'm not going to say starting over because it's always a continuation. But last year was the perfect time to transition. But there's something in that statement that I have talked about here before. In retrospect, maybe having Mack Brown be the head coach this year was the best thing for the program, based on having, and again, this is in retrospect, based on having to bury a player. When you bury a popular teammate, Tylee Kraft, who passed away, finally succumbing to a battle with cancer. When you bury a teammate and you have the emotional investment of all of his friends and teammates and the program, I said this morning when I was on with WFNZ. I'll say it. I said it when we broke in at about 10:40.
Yeah, we had a pre-show before the show.
We had a pregame show. And I'll say it again. I don't think there is another coach in the country, not a single one, with the compassion and empathy that Mack displayed over his now 6 years as the second, Mack 2.0. I don't think there's anybody else who could have helped young people through this event. I don't think anybody could have done it better than Mack. So in retrospect, I'm glad he was here. Football-wise, last year should have been the time. Bryn Renner, a quarterback at UNC and a superstar at UNC, part of the radio broadcast team as well, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. I have no direction for this, which might not sound any different than any other time you and I talk. So just your thoughts on where we are right now.
Adam, how's it going? I appreciate you having me on. I think my reaction is probably very similar to a lot of the fan base, the Carolina football faithful, is appreciation for what Coach Brown did. And with the understanding of how tough of a year it was, just looking back, and I was able to be around the team a little bit more this year than I have in the past. And, handling the Max Johnson situation where he, fractures his fibula the first game of the year. Yeah. And then, handling, as you mentioned so eloquently, dealing with a death on a team that was very traumatic for the last 2 years, with a player that, was really, struggling, but also well received by the team. It's heartbreaking. And I think Coach Brown, like you said, and I was, fortunate to be around Coach Davis when his last years were coming to an end at FIU. So I speak from the experience of when you're an older generation football coach, your compassion level goes up because it's about the players and their success going forward. And for the last 6 years, Coach Brown did a phenomenal job of taking that role. And, Adam, unfortunately, like I said, I've told you this before, I've been at the highest of highs and lowest of lows of this profession, both coaching and, playing professional football. It's a performance-based business. And unfortunately, people think that you're going to be in one place for forever. And that's just not the case. And I think Coach Brown did a phenomenal job, and 1.0 Coach Brown and 2.0 Coach Brown, and getting this program where it needs to be. And I think, it's also an exciting time for Carolina football to move forward and move on with the next steps.
Bryn Renner is joining us here, former quarterback for the Tar Heels, now part of the radio crew. The mission, and I actually just went back and listened to part of his introductory press conference now, I guess 6 years ago. And, he talked openly about repairing the relationships with the high schools in North Carolina. People forget just how, first of all, North Carolina, I keep telling people don't believe this. If you look at the NFL rosters and you look at where the players come from, North Carolina produces the 5th most players for the National Football League. California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia are 1 through 4. I don't even know what particular order, but they're 1 through 4. North Carolina is 5. To have no relationship really with the high school coaches and to have to rebuild those so quickly, what do you think made Mack ideally suited to do that?
Recruiting is always going to be the lifeblood of college football, Adam. And I think he did such a great job of understanding that, because that's what, the day and age that he came of was, hey, I'm going to high schools, stepping in there and stepping into North Carolina. I think we nationally recruited, when Butch was here, but also even when Larry was here. And then so when we had national guys and you walk in the locker room and maybe 50 to less than 50% were from the state, I would probably say.
Yeah.
He wanted to change that because of the stat you just gave. 5th most players in the NFL are coming from the state of North Carolina. I remember when we were recruiting Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley's from Tarboro.
Yeah.
And he went to Georgia. And I think keeping those guys in the state, because there's so much talent, Coach Brown realized that, hey, I got the Dre Blythes from Virginia, but I need to kind of stay in those, geographically in the North Carolinas and the Virginias, because there's so much talent-rich programs, and developing those high school relations are really key. So I think that was big for the transition. And, you kept 2 quarterbacks that were huge. And you mentioned it before I came on, and I was listening. Sam and Drake were the face of the program.
Yeah.
And when you have 2 guys that are NFL caliber, I think we experienced this when Mitch left after 1 year in Larry's tenure.
Yeah.
Those 2 kids were difference makers. They're going to be 10-year pros. And that's really hard to replace year in and year out. And then you look at the transfer portal that comes along, and you might have a kid for a year. Like, you think about it, we only had Tez Walker for 6 games last year. So there's a different changing of the guard, and I think that's why you see the Sabans and Belichick saying, oh, my goodness, I can't develop a team like I used to because kids are coming and going. And it's really hard to establish consistency in programs. Now, can you do it? And is everyone faced with the same challenges and teams get it done? Absolutely. And I think that's maybe the way we need to go is, okay, what's the new landscape of college football? How do we compete, and where do we go from here? Because other teams are doing it, especially within the conference.
So don't answer the questions before I ask them, Bryn Renner, former Tar Heel quarterback, now part of the radio broadcast. Because my next question legitimately is going to be because we have such a different landscape. Do you think? I don't know if he was slow to adapt or. Because he is who he is and he coached for as long as he's coached in a completely different era. If the adjustment, was he finding it hard with the adjustment to the transient nature of the sport, having to rebuild a roster every single year the way you have to do it these days?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a transition for the guys that come from the old school. You're going to be in the program for 4 years type of mentality. And I noticed it. I was director of recruiting. It was hard for me to navigate the transfer portal because it was strictly almost worse than free agency because you don't have a salary cap.
Right.
And there's no cap on, hey, go get a transfer portal guy because you have to go get the money then from the university based off of NIL and things like that. So there's almost more challenges than being, the director of recruiting or general manager as they have now than being an NFL general manager because you have to navigate. There's no salary cap. So I think that was frustrating for a lot of people in the profession that can't come from the old school mentality. that really enjoyed the progression of a young kid that, might be a linebacker as a high school kid and then transferred to, a tight end within your program because you can see the potential. So I think it does stunt the growth, and I think it's hard to be a coach now in college football because there's so much pressure to win right away. You look at Billy Napier from Florida. I mean, he won 3 games to kind of save his job, and he's done a really good job of kind of staying consistent through that. But that being said, I think Coach Brown, and I don't want to speak for him, did a phenomenal job of navigating that and did the best he could with it. But I think there are some challenges within the college football landscape that the younger coaches potentially could navigate just a little bit better because they've had to do it at other places. But I think it can be done. I think just having a process in place to get it done is very, very important, especially, with the off the field staff that you have to manage.
Bryn Renner is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Not that I'm making you a candidate for the job, but I would support you if you were. Now that you're out of coaching right now, would you get back in, knowing what we know about the way the game is being played today? Would you get back in, or are you like, you know what? I'm glad I don't have to deal with that kind of stuff.
Adam, it's a question I have with a good friend that TJ Yates, who's the quarterback coach at the Atlanta Falcons that I talk about daily. He calls me on his drives home. I wouldn't say no, but I like playing golf, Adam. It's going to have to be something serious. I'm a golfer.
Right.
Like, I enjoy my day job. I work for a great company in KL Discovery. I love my job, and I've gotten fired once, Adam. We went 1-11 in FIU, and I watched this with Bush. So, I wouldn't say no, but it has to be the right opportunity. But I think for young coaches that get in the profession and you want to help kids succeed. And I got a chance to see Grayson James from Boston College. That was what quarterback I recruited at him with 0 scholarship offers, and recruited him from Duncanville, Texas to FIU. He had to enter the transfer portal, got benched, and now he's the starter at Boston College. That's what I enjoy. And I think, for a young coach and young coaches that are in the profession, that I know a lot of the staff at Carolina that have been former and current, that's what you want to see at North Carolina to develop in a program. And so I want to do everything I can to help Carolina football players have the same career that I had and to develop the same relationships that you and I have, Adam, now of, we've known each other for 10 years since I was a little 18-year-old kid. And I think that's what's special to me is the relationships that you build within the foundation of football, because it's a huge family. And when you go through hard things, you need family members beside you, and that's what college football provides.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more question, Bryn Renner. You always say flattering things to me. I don't really know how to handle it. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that as a college student that you put up with radio drivel that we put on the radio 5 days a week. What do you think North Carolina, UNC football, what do you think it can be?
Well, the competitor in me knows what it can be because the place is so special. I think if you walk on Carolina's campus, there's not a better place in the country, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And Adam, I had a chance to go see them all because I was a very highly recruited kid coming out. And that place is something very, very special. I think it's going to be a very sought-after job. I think, honestly, every coach in the country will want it. But what it can be, I don't think the potential has been tapped yet. And I hate to say that in a negative way. I think there's been highs and lows, but the consistency factor of what it can be is probably what leaves a lot of the fans to be desired, because you see what's there, the infrastructure that's there, the people, the place, I just say it, the arena. And I got a chance to do the radio for this year, and I was living on the West Coast, and I forgot how special the place was, because you sit up there and you're like, wow. I mean, it's incredible. 3:30 on a Saturday, you're playing football in 65-degree weather, and it's you're in the Pines, and so right. I think it's very important for the next hire to be the right hire, to be a guy that can see the potential for the next 15 to 20 years of this place and what it can be. Because I know the fans want it. I know I want it as an alum, and I know my former players do. And the one thing I always say, Adam, all we want to see is the best effort and be competitive.
Right.
And I think once you get the right recruits in there, I think the place is going to take off. And I think it's time that we kind of handle it and understand how special it can be.
Bryn Renner, I appreciate your time, my friend. We'll talk. We will talk soon. No, you are. I just know the best. At Bryn Renner on Twitter. We got to get you over on Blue Sky. It's all blue skies.
Absolutely.
All right, man. I'll talk to you very soon. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah.
The best. Bryn Renner here on the Adam Gold Show. I remember TJ Yates. TJ was great. He was great people. Incredible. I didn't realize he was still a quarterback coach with the Atlanta Falcons, division leaders.
Nice.
In the NFC South. So Mack Brown fired today. I was actually speaking earlier, and I don't have any direct stories about Mack. When I moved here, when I came down in February of 1998, it was the winter after Mack. Mack left, announced he was leaving for Austin in 97. They hired Carl Torbush. And so I didn't have to deal with Mack Brown as the coach at Mack Brown 1.0. But I did deal with him in Mack Brown 2.0. And say one thing that I found about Mack and why I have said that this year, in retrospect, if it were up to me, if I were making the calls, he would not have been the coach this year. I would have wanted Mack to stop after last year. 5-year run, put us back on great footing. Now let's hand it off to somebody else. But Mack wanted to stay. Last year wasn't a great year, given Drake May as your quarterback. Probably needed to have more than Tez Walker in the hopper as wide receiver. All of that, regardless. I mean, recruiting is hard. The portal makes it more difficult. So the thing about it is that this year, it became apparent how important he was based on what was going on. So, but Mack was always incredibly easy to get along with. And when he did come back, the first time we talked, Mack didn't know me. I mean, unless he's hanging out with his friends in Chapel Hill at times listening to the radio. Mack doesn't know who I am. And he treated me like we were old buddies. First time I interviewed Mack at an Operation Football. It was like, backslapping, how you doing? Like, whatever. He was just, I think it's a condescending and maybe a derogatory term to call Mack a politician because of the negative connotation that has. But he really was. But he was like, if this is even possible, one of the good ones. Right? I mean, again, I'm not even sure that's possible. It's a heck of a non sequitur, by the way, if you just cut it right there. He just had a warmth about him, Mack 2.0. Again, I didn't cover Mack 1.0, so I don't know. Now, somebody that I was texting with today who played for Mack before they became great, right? Before the end at North Carolina. In the developmental years of Mack. And we were originally, I'm not going to use his name. Originally, we were going to do something on the radio. And he reached out and he said, I just can't do it live. It means too much to me because of what Mack meant to me. And completely understand. And I think there's a lot of people who feel that way today. And maybe Mack 1.0 wasn't a whole lot different than Mack 2.0. I don't know. I didn't experience him. I didn't experience Mack 1.0. So we always forget the human side of it, which I think stared us in the face this year with the passing of Tylee Kraft. And so I stand by my initial statement that there's no coach in the country that would have been better at negotiating this than Mack Brown. And maybe, and I could be wrong about this, maybe that's why, as good a coach as Mack was here, Texas, and other stops, maybe that's why there wasn't quite as much winning. Because I don't know that football lends itself to empathy and compassion. I don't know. I was never a football player. I never had my hand in the dirt. For all of you people that think that matters, I've never had my hand in the dirt or in the crushed tire. But to me, he was a gentleman. And I wish him well. I don't know what he's going to do next. If I were Mack, go back to television. You were great at that. Go back to TV. But I said this before when we showed the big shot of the board behind me which says Mack Brown fired. It should never read that. It should always have read Mack Brown retires. I wish he had called that shot. Unfortunately, Bubba Cunningham was charged with essentially David Cutcliffing Mack Brown. David Cutcliffe never realized that it was time. So Nina King had to say, no, it's time. And nobody likes that. I'm sure Mack Brown didn't like it when he heard it from Bubba Cunningham. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. There are a few other things going on. Like at some point, we'll get to what happened at Lenovo Center last night, which was amazing. Some things. Right? Also, because I would never otherwise be excited for this, I was excited that North Carolina basketball didn't tip off till 11:30 last night.
Yeah.
So when I got home, I could watch the second. I got home and I looked at the score and went, what?
Excuse you?
And then I watched the second half.
Right.
So we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll also get back to Mack Brown. Maybe at the end of the hour, we take if people want. If you want to, chime in on Mack Brown, you can always go to youtube.com/AdamGoldShow/999 The Fan. We have a little chat. You can leave your thoughts about Mack Brown there. We'll read them. But if you we'll carve out a little time for you to talk on the radio, if you like. Not a lot of time today. We have our pretty much full all the time, but I'll be happy to talk to people.
Yeah, why
right?
not? Sure.
Even if you're not happy to talk to me. All right, we'll come right back. We'll talk to Brian Geisinger next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Duke, UNC, and State men's basketball. It seems like every single day another one of them is playing a top 10 team in the country in their non-conference schedule. That's not by accident. Yes, they'll take their lumps, may even lose a couple games, but they'll be battle-tested, and that is worth its weight in gold when the postseason comes around. It's why they surprise every year.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and it's an all-gravy weekend. That's right. It's the holiday weekend. That means the football starts on Thursday and runs basically through the end of the week. And right now, all customers can get a no-sweat NFL same-game parlay to celebrate the occasion. Just place a 3-leg same-game parlay, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. Free shots. Go nuts. Shoot the moon. So what are you waiting for? Start the feast now. A no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Gift an icon this holiday season. The Omega Speedmaster. Known as the Moonwatch, this legendary timepiece made history as the only watch selected by NASA to withstand the extreme environment of space and was worn by the legendary astronauts on the first journey to the moon. With its timeless design and unmatched durability, the Omega Speedmaster continues to inspire adventure seekers worldwide. Find your perfect Speedmaster at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted best jeweler. Learn more at baileybox.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now during our Black Friday sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. And Cyber Monday. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
At Take 5, we're faster than you think. That means we'll change your oil and have you back on the road before you can count all the change in your center console. Cha-ching, baby! Just sit back and relax while our fast, friendly team does all the work. Take 5, the stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change. Appointments now available at participating locations.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, save 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
This is Adam Gold.
What, a minute 53 into the game? Heat of the moment?
Right.
What kind of heat of the moment is that? We haven't even gotten to simmer yet.
I know. Did someone flip him off in the parking lot? Like, what are we...
Seriously.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Obviously, we will spend a good chunk of today on the decision by the University of North Carolina, Director of Athletics Bubba Cunningham, to move on from Mack Brown. I don't like the fact, I'm not arguing that it shouldn't have been there. I don't like the fact that the board behind me in the first segment said Mack Brown fired. It should have never come to that. But as Bomani's told us last week, and Bomani has told me before, it was never going to be a gracious stepping away. It was never going to be that. That's not who Mack is. And again, I invoke the name David Cutcliffe because that's exactly what happened at Duke. David Cutcliffe always believed that he could turn it around. And he couldn't. I mean, he just couldn't. So Duke, essentially, that whole, press release, official press release, mutually parting ways, was a firing. David Cutcliffe was not going to leave. Duke left him. And I use left as a verb there. And Mack Brown wasn't going to step down. The stories about Mack was going to be here, he was telling people that he was going to coach another year. He wasn't going to step down on his own. So he got stepped down. And I hate it for him. But I think it's the best thing for the university. I really do. All right, we will get back to Mack. And again, coming up in a little bit, we'll invite phone calls if you want to chime in on Mack Brown. You can also do that through either Twitter or Blue Sky. I'll monitor either. At AGoldFan on Twitter, at Adam Gold on Blue Sky. Victoria, you're not on Blue Sky yet, are you?
Not yet.
You should do that.
That's on the to-do list.
You should do that.
But I am monitoring the chat, though, the YouTube
All right,
chat.
Cool, very good. Last night when I got home from a wild hockey game, the North Carolina Tar Heels, I guess they were watching the third period too, because that was a crazy good comeback from 21 down to, thankfully, toe on the line 3 became a 2, and UNC goes through in Maui. Although, honestly, who cares? The losers bracket would have been awesome too. Connecticut and Iowa State are in that bracket, but I believe Auburn is next. Brian Geisinger, 24/7 Sports, Pack Pride, BuzzBeat Podcast, split the action on Substack. I'm sure there are other credits to him. He joins us on the Adam Gold Show. I appreciate North Carolina playing a fun basketball game that late.
Yeah, what a day out in Maui yesterday, right? There's a lot of stuff. Danny Hurley screaming at people. You got comeback victories. You got buzzer beaters. You got toes on the line. It was pretty awesome. And, yeah, I mean, Dayton UNC, that was an excellent early season game. Really fun. Thought both teams showed a lot of good stuff, especially on the offensive side of the floor. And, yeah, certainly, I mean, UNC maybe caught, a small break at the end there with, Santos pulling a Kevin Durant, having his, toe on the line for a potential game time 3. But, man, what an effort by guys like, Seth Trimble, who was outstanding at the rim, and R.J. Davis with all the shot making from beyond the arc. And I thought even Elliot Cadeau, just sort of like his ability to touch the paint and some of the passing he had was really good yesterday. And it was, they beat a top 40, top 50 team in the country.
Yeah.
So it's a good win.
That is it was a very good win. And you don't get too many early season games that feel like this is going to sound, I don't mean to say that these games are on par, but the way those teams were trading big shots, especially in the last, say, 6 minutes of the game, felt like, and you're too young to remember this, 1992 Duke, Kentucky, East Regional Final, where neither team had an answer defensively for the other. It was big shot after big shot, three-point play, three-point shot. It was awesome theater to watch. But you brought up the at least at first, the two players that I was super impressed with. Seth Trimble, who you and I have talked about it. I think Seth Trimble is star material in the college game. Who knows what happens going forward, but he's a super athlete. But, man, has he gotten better.
Yeah, I mean, the development is pretty obvious, especially because it's not in little ways, it's in big scoring shot making ways.
Yeah,
he's always been a great athlete. He's been a good defender. He was a good defender last year. He's always been a nice cutter and slasher, always been a pretty good finisher around the rim for a guard, and he still does that. He got, how many points did he get off of putbacks and just sort of scavenger points last night in that game. But obviously what he can do, he hit those 2 corner threes on the left side of the floor. I guess that was early on in the game too. And it's a huge deal, obviously, for him, long term, but also it matters in terms of how you're going to guard UNC's offense this season. And, the development of Trimble, along with the departure of someone like Armando Bacot and the returns of R.J. Davis and Elliot Cadeau, you look at UNC and they've got really good front court players. I thought Jalen Withers and Jalen Washington both had some big moments and had to switch out against Dayton's guards and stuff yesterday. But you look at UNC now and they've just got so many good guards, especially when you include Jackson off the bench. They can get to all these 3-guard looks.
Yeah.
And when you have a guy like Trimble who's 6'2", 6'3", but is so athletic and rangy,
yeah,
it doesn't really feel like you're sacrificing much in terms of athleticism or size on the wing. And they're really tough to guard, especially because guys like Cadeau and RJ can just sort of pass the pick and roll baton back and forth to one another. And Hubert Davis has a lot of, pick and roll tricks up his sleeve too. So they're going to be a tough team. I think if there's anything you can pull away from last night is that they got a bunch of shot makers. The development of Trimble and Cadeau is big, and that UNC is going to be tough in late game situations because they got a bunch of guys that can handle. And also, all those guys are getting to the line at crazy rates this season too, way up over last year. All of those guys are drawing at least 5 fouls per 40 minutes, if not more. All big jumps over last season too. So as the usage has sort of been dispersed, as the offense is changing a little bit, those guys are all taking on pretty significant central roles. And guys like Cadeau and Trimble especially are scaling up.
I want to set aside 2 minutes to talk about Duke, who played Arizona on Friday, a game I watched. And we'll play Kansas, I believe, tonight. My head is spinning from all the news going on. I'm pretty sure the game is tonight in Vegas. But you and I talked about Drake Powell, and I mentioned to you that I thought he just hesitated when he got the ball in the corner. It looked like they looked at the video and said, "Hey Drake, when you get the ball in the corner, do something with it." And he pulled the trigger on a couple of threes that he made. I don't know if he made both of them, but he certainly was a willing shooter and at least an occasional maker, and that's good enough. Because if you're a threat, you are a threat. All right, real quick to Duke. I thought what impressed me about the win at Arizona, and this may benefit them against Kansas as well, was that it was a different type of win, I think, for a John Shire Duke team. It was a scrap that they had to survive with Arizona, who wanted to turn the game into chaos. And Duke physically up to the challenge against a bigger, maybe a stronger, maybe a more mature physically team than they were. And Cooper Flagg was awesome. And then the Knipple shot started to fall, and that was really the separation, probably late. But I just thought they kind of grinded one out.
Yeah, it was an awesome defensive performance from them. And I know, Arizona is probably not what they were a season ago, but defensively, there's still a ton of talent on that roster. They've got 3 really good guards, too, with Caleb Love, KJ Lewis, and Jaden Bradley. Those guys are fast. Some of them can, a guy like Love can really burn you off the dribble with pull-up threes, too. And I thought they were, sophisticated and tough defensively in that game. You saw the mixing up coverages depending on which Arizona guard was handling the ball. Duke was hard hedging screens against Caleb Love and making sure this guy doesn't, get it rolling from deep. And he did not. It was he's streaky, and it was certainly not like an on night for Love in Tucson. And then against KJ Lewis and Jaden Bradley, they're playing drop coverage and trying to push those guys into taking mid-range twos. I thought Duke's defensive rebounding was very good in the game. I thought Mack Brown just doing everything they asked.
Oh my gosh!
Ball screens, he was awesome. Malawach battled fouls, injury, etc. I thought he, in his minutes as a young guy going up against a veteran, nasty front line, I thought he had good showing. And then Flagg is just everywhere defensively, on the backside of all of this stuff, especially when Duke's putting 2 defenders on the ball. Starting pick and roll, he's putting out fires everywhere on the backside of the play. And I just thought Zion James was rock solid for them on both sides of the ball. Right. Tough, physical, had those 2 cut baskets off high post feeds from Mack Brown. So very, very, very impressive showing from Duke. And I just thought they did some cool stuff too. They mixed in their first possession of zone defense on the season on the out-of-timeout play for Arizona right before halftime that threw off whatever Arizona was trying to do. Mm-hmm. And I thought a fun little piece of sort of payback was after we saw Arizona last season not guarding Mark Mitchell, not guarding Ryan Young, when Toby Awaka had the ball for Arizona, you saw Taman Malawach just sitting in the paint, not going out there to guard him and clogging everything up at the rim. So it felt a little cosmic, you know what I mean? Having that sort of come full circle 12 months later.
You're the man. Brian Geisinger, 24/7 Sports, BuzzBeat Podcast. Split the Action. Go check it out. There was a new post after the Duke-Arizona game on Split the Action. You're the best, my man. I will talk to you very soon. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to both of you guys and your families. And yes, I'm on Blue Sky now too. So find me there.
There you go. Now I have somebody else to follow. I'm almost up to 10 followers now.
Oh man.
Well, not 10 people that I follow.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how many followers I have. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Brian Geisinger. Actually, we'll talk to him next Friday. So a week from this Friday, we will talk to Brian Geisinger again. When we come back, if you want to chime in on Mack Brown and the decision by the University of North Carolina to move on from him or move him on and find a replacement, this would be the time to do it. 919-860-5326. Is that the number?
Yes, 919-860-5326.
Again, it's not something we do a whole lot of. But if you want to chime in on the chat, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show or /999 The Fan. That is fair.
I also have the number in the chat if you didn't get it. So it's there if you want to call in, but you didn't catch the number.
That almost sounds like begging. All right, we're not doing that, but if you want to talk about Mack Brown, we're here for you. We'll do that next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's that time of year. We can't wait to visit our loved ones. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you, so make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against the new virus strains that will continue to spread this fall and winter. Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Are you looking for a 2-year hands-on agricultural degree while still gaining the university experience? I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. We offer 6 associate's degrees that span the agricultural industry and set our students up to meet their goals. Come live on campus, learn on our farms, and be a part of the NC State community. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
Open enrollment for health insurance is here, but don't worry. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance has you covered for all your health insurance needs, including Medicare. And with offices in every county, a trusted, experienced agent is just around the corner, ready to help find a plan that's right for you. Visit ncfbins.com or stop by your local office today. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Having health insurance is important. So, if you or anyone in your family has Medicaid or CHIP, listen up. Check your mail for a renewal form from your state. Complete the form and mail it back right away so you don't lose your coverage. If you do lose Medicaid or CHIP, visit healthcare.gov to see if you're eligible to enroll in a low-cost, quality health plan. Keep your family covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
AARP reminds you that November is National Family Caregivers Month. While family caregivers should be celebrated every day, this is a time to recognize and honor those taking care of their loved ones by raising awareness around caregiving issues, educating communities, and working to increase support for our nation's caregivers. Learn about this topic and more by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends, look closer. Right in your community, there are youth who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So, look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. Every youth who walks into Covenant House gets clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So, look closer at Covenant House and help us fight youth homelessness. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the ones and twos. Normally at this time of the day, we would do one-timers. Victoria would ask me questions, and I would fire back answers, one-timer fashion. Of course, I ramble too much for those to be really considered one-timers. They're more like shootout moves, where I overthink things. But in this case, because of events of the day, we thought we'd try to create some time for you to give your thoughts or ask me anything you want about Mack Brown, because Mack Brown was essentially fired today by the University of North Carolina after 6 years of a second run in Chapel Hill. And, I mean, when we get to the top, I will give, again, in a nutshell, my quick thoughts, but I don't want to take time away from you. So let's start with Barry from Apex, who successfully dialed 919-860-5326. That is the number. Barry, how are you?
Doing great. How you doing, Adam?
Doing very well. Thank you for your time.
Cool. I was surprised that they didn't show more respect and let him finish the season and then say, he's going to take another position within the school. Or do you think they offered that and he said no?
I don't know how this whole thing played out. My feeling is that the university really wanted him to step down last year. They didn't want to have to fire him. And again, I am operating with zero concrete inside information, but I have talked to a lot of people around the university. My feeling is that they wanted last year to be the last year, and that's obviously not what happened. And what I think could have happened had North Carolina gone out and beaten NC State is that there would be an additional groundswell for Mack can continue the road back. And I think the university believes that they needed to rip the Band-Aid off now. I think they wanted to rip the Band-Aid off last year.
Yeah. Well, in that game this Saturday, I'm a State fan, it's going to be who wants to lose it the least. I hate to put it that way.
Well, I mean, it's not atypical of this game, right? I mean, it's sort of I think it's one of the fun rivalries in all of college football. It rarely has the big stakes. I mean, that's the truth is, right? It's not like Ohio State, Michigan. It just isn't. It isn't Alabama, Auburn. It's not one of these types of games. It is at the end of the season. These are two teams that are, who's going to go to the Tire Bowl or who's going to Nashville, Music City, who's going to the Pinstripe Bowl or the Mill. Like, it's kind of that, like to avoid Shreveport. But it usually produces something wild. And each, we have Russell Wilson's 2-yard Hail Mary and Giovanni Bernard's punt return. We have one of those.
Okay. Why you got to bring that up?
Well, I just brought up the 2-yard Hail Mary. You didn't complain about that, Barry. All right, man. Have a good one.
I listen to you every day and enjoyed hearing Ron Biscotti the other day. Love Ron the ref.
Oh, that's right. That's cool. Day. He was great. I appreciate your time, Barry. Let me get to Isaiah in Wake Forest before we have to close up shop for the hour. Isaiah, what's up?
I just want to say one thing real quick.
Sure.
I feel like this was for the best. I do feel like they should have waited till the end of the season to fire him.
Right.
And I do feel like they wanted for him to step down last year. I feel like everybody knew he wasn't going to be there for 4 more years to develop a new young quarterback or anything like that before he goes pro or anything. So I do feel like they wanted him gone last year, and then the season went south as Max Johnson broke an ankle or something like that. And so I do feel like it was for the best. I think they need a new young coach who's more into the NIL stuff and can bring this organization back.
I agree with a lot of that. There's no question about it, Isaiah. I appreciate your time. I mean, just big picture, I think the university was hoping that Mack would do this on his own. I mean, it was just too easy, and I hate to use examples of other schools, especially one as close and is a rival, although the Carolina-Duke football rivalry, let's be honest, it's cool. There's a bell. Yeah. There's a bell. We paint it. Sometimes there's vandalism involved too, which, I mean, not ideal, but it's a rivalry. So.
Oh, and to touch on our YouTube stream, we did get some feedback. Harold said he doesn't think Carolina will be able to get the recruits that Matt can bring in. That was his 2 cents.
I don't know. It all depends on who you hire. I will point out that until the scandal broke in 2010, as Carolina was headed to Atlanta to play LSU, looked like North Carolina was in a pretty good spot with Butch Davis. It all depends on who you hire. All right, Ross Martin from Inside Carolina will join us next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and people often ask me, what is the Good Feet store? A shoe store? I respond, we are an art support store. Haven't you spent enough time trying different shoes and all the disposable products that are supposed to make your feet feel better? Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The Ram Black Friday sales event is going on now, with great deals on a wide selection of powerful and dependable Ram trucks. Right now, finance and get $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for this Black Friday offer. $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 12/2/24.
Fruitcake! You shouldn't have. Wow, a candle.
Spread joy, not junk, with the Autobell Car Wash Holiday Sale. Visit Autobell to buy one Super Poly Process Wash and get one 40% off.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Classes available online or in person. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted.
Not available in Washington State.
Hey guys, this is Marcy Bailey from Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and we know that you want to get your wife or girlfriend something special this Christmas. But sometimes you just don't know what to get. You wonder, what will she like? What will make her feel special? What will make her say, wow? At Bailey's Fine Jewelry, we have experts that are here to help. We specialize in making you look like a hero. You can even send her in to make a wish list that we keep on file to help make your life just a little bit easier. Bailey's has the largest selection of jewelry in North Carolina, including designers like David Yurman, Lagos, Marco Biccigo, and Ippolita, as well as beautifully curated Bailey's collections. And don't fret, because if for some reason she doesn't love your gift, we have a 30-day return policy. Our goal is to be your go-to jeweler for life. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, located in Raleigh's Village District, Crabtree Valley Mall, and Cary's Fenton. Also in Rocky Mount and Greenville. Every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
It's been a long time.
The official Eras Tour book coming to Target on November 29th, featuring over 500 photographs from the tour, including never-before-seen performance and behind-the-scenes images. And for the first time, the Tortured Poets Department, the Anthology, with 35 tracks on CD and vinyl.
Only at Target.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
In front, Martinook trying to track it down. Stall Wilt. Back for Burns. Burns shot. He scores! His first of the year! And Brent Burns ties this baby at 3. H's with the turn. Back for Gostisbehere. Shooting lane. He scores! Stuff the turkey! The comeback is now complete. 4-3 Carolina on the power play. Gostisbehere takes the shot. He'll get it back for Natchez. Natchez looking. It deflects off his skate. The score! Marty Natchez making his own look. And on the power play, the Canes get the bounce. It's 5-4.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. I hope that's not the only time we talk about the Hurricanes today. You heard Mike Maniscalco. What a wild finish.
Oh, my gosh. He had so many good ones, too. Like zingers. Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
I loved it.
He was all about the holiday week.
I know. It was fantastic.
We have a game tomorrow.
I know.
Come on, Mike. Let's leave something in the chamber.
Say something.
Like I told Tripp at the end of our little hot stove before the game, like, I'm saving all my Thanksgiving material for Wednesday.
Yes, and then we've got another one Friday, so you got to come up with like the Black Friday, the sales.
That'll be all the leftover conversation.
Right. Oh, I'm stuffed.
Right. Be sandwiching in all of these games around the holiday. All right. For people who are not aware, you should be. Mack Brown was fired today as head coach at the University of North Carolina. And we can dress it up any way we want, just like Duke did however many years ago it is now, 4 years, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I guess, when they fired David Cutcliffe, because that's what happened. David Cutcliffe didn't want to go. Duke wanted him to go. It wouldn't, they couldn't come to an agreement that David Cutcliffe should retire and be present for the unveiling of the David Cutcliffe statue for what he did at Duke, for what he created, the possibilities he created at Duke. And that's what we should have for Mack Brown. We should have it anyway. And I think Duke should do that for David Cutcliffe anyway. And I think one day there will be some sort of a commemoration of the fact that Mack Brown brought them to the precipice of national prominence. I think he already did, but I mean as almost a national power in the late 90s. And then coming back, they had a job to do. So I want you to hear, because I thought, we can hear a lot of stuff from Mack yesterday before this was news, right? Or early, Sunday, whatever it is, before this was news. But I thought, let's go back and listen to when Mack got here for the second time in 2018, I guess it was. It might have been late 2017. Right? The introductory press conference. And here he is explaining why he came back to North Carolina.
Sally and I are very excited to be here. We've looked at different opportunities over the last few years, and Sally and I would sit down, and it didn't seem to be the fit. Wasn't where we wanted to live. It just didn't seem to be the right place for us. So I asked Sally 2 years ago, where would we go? She said, I'll coach with you, I'll travel with you 3 different places. I'll go to Hawaii, I'll go to the Bahamas if they start football, or I'll go to Chapel Hill. And those are the 3 places that I would go. So
they play football in Hawaii. Maybe the job wasn't open at the time. There is no university in the Bahamas. So, although there was a bowl game, I don't think the bowl game's still there. The Popeyes Bowl is being played in the Bahamas.
Interesting choice of...
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's my favorite bowl. All right. So obviously it was, and that's part of Mack, man. That is quintessential Mack Brown right there. But there was a reason Mack Brown came back, because the program had atrophied is not the right word, because it was sudden, and there were some good fun seasons with Larry Fedora. Nobody's knocking that. But when the flagship university in the state doesn't have a relationship, a healthy relationship with high school coaches all across North Carolina, that's a problem. And that's one thing Mack Brown has always been great at, the relationship game.
And at the same time, our common purpose is for them to have a great experience here, for them to learn to be better people when they get out of here, and have a wonderful life afterwards. And we want them to win. I've tried that both ways. And winning's a lot more fun than that other stuff. It's not even close. It's not even in the same ballpark. And then I want to meet the coaches that are here and the staff that's here. They've worked really, really hard. And those kids played hard this year. And then I want to reach out to recruits and high school coaches and all of those things that we have missed. We had a great relationship with the high school coaches when we left here. And that's something we will renew, the ones that are still out there, and we'll get to know the new guys, because that is such a key to getting better.
Because it is. Well, Bryn Renner said it earlier. You know, it's at this point it's a cliche that recruiting is the lifeblood of college sports. Now, recruiting is different today than recruiting used to be. You're not always recruiting for 4 years. Sometimes you're recruiting out of the portal. And everything has changed. Maybe Mack Brown wasn't going to be as good at the new recruiting as he was the old recruiting. So maybe this is something that had to happen. But before we get to Ross Martin, and he's going to join us here in a second from inside Carolina, Dave Doran, they were just on the practice field over at NC State. It's the big game. We don't have a name for it, I don't believe. We tried back in the day. I'll explain what we tried to do back in the day for the NC State-Carolina football rivalry. But here's Dave Doran at the start of his North Carolina press conference earlier today on the campus of NC State.
The news about Coach, and just wanted to say what a great career, and I have nothing but respect for Coach Brown. I've known him since I was a young assistant coach, and he's done things the right way. He's worked hard in his profession. He's helped a lot of coaches, and so I have a lot of respect for him. And I don't know all the ins and outs of anything I found out on the field a second ago. I do know he's coaching the game, and as always, look forward to coaching in this rivalry and against Coach. And so, I just want to wish him well. And obviously, this week's about our football team, and that's where our focus is trying to take all the things that are about the rivalry, but pour it into the execution of playing the game the way it needs to be played.
So, I first of all, Classy from Dave Doran to address it in the way, because he relates a personal story, or at least a personal relationship with Mack Brown. And I'm not, again, saying that no college coach has ever been the way that Mack Brown is with other coaches. There is a phrase called pay it forward. I think there are a lot of coaches that pay it forward. Mack Brown has a grandfatherly way about him that I think is not uncommon about coaches, but there doesn't seem to be a gruff side to Mack. So let's spend a few minutes with Ross Martin inside Carolina. Also, the Big Hitters Only podcast. How's that going, by the way?
It's going good. We recorded last night at like 2 a.m. and we recorded this morning at 11:30 after the news. So a lot of big things happening right now around UNC sports. The Big Hitters Only. Rate, review, subscribe.
Here you go. Rate, reviews. I will review. So you've talked about it probably for the last 2 hours. What are your thoughts on Mack 2.0 coming to an end?
I mean, it had to happen, and it was going to happen at some point, and it was going to happen either at the end of this season or right now, or was he going to try to stay for another year? I think what's super interesting about this is the power struggle at the top between what Mack wanted to do, because I know Mack wanted to stay, and he made that very clear last week. There was like a little media tour he did, getting the news out that he intended to stay, which is so weird, and then UNC didn't really come out with any news. And then, bam, Tuesday morning, news breaks that UNC is firing Mack. So there was this power struggle between what Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director at UNC, wanted, and maybe the administration wanted, versus what Mack wanted. And then there's all this donor aspect to it. You know, Mack has been very good with the donors and has a lot of high money guys kind of in his pocket. So it was this super interesting kind of succession, Game of Thrones power struggle that happened in the last couple of days, last couple of weeks. But I think what happened in Boston College, combined with the JMU game, 70 points against JMU in Kenan Stadium. But then they won 3 straight. Then Boston College, and then losing to NC State in the past, and some bad losses throughout his tenure. I mean, it was time. It was going to happen. It was going to happen at some point. They lost their top recruit on Friday, recruiting class. They have 10 commitments. It's ranked number 78 in the country right now. So it was trending downward. So they had to make a move. So it's massive news here on Tuesday morning.
Ross Martin inside Carolina is joining us. Also, the Big Hitters Only podcast. Actually, if I get the first part of that, I think you'll always have a relationship with Inside Carolina. But we'll just go with the Big Hitters Only podcast for now. Here's the thing: by coming out, and it wasn't like he said it at a press conference. Like, he was telling people, because that's really the way the story was presented, was that Mack Brown is telling people that he intends to come back and remain the head coach at North Carolina. In a way, he's forcing UNC to make a call here, right? He's like, whether or not he's got big money behind him, and I'm sure he did and does, and North Carolina's got to decide, all right, what's more important, what we believe is best for the football program, or the money people that are driving the retention, and maybe even way back 6 years ago, the return of Mack Brown. I mean, I don't envy the position that Bubba Cunningham was placed in.
Yeah, it's almost like Bubba Cunningham called Mack's bluff.
Right.
Mack intended to stay on and had no intention of leaving, and was telling recruits and families and everyone that he was coming back. But Bubba realized that it was time for a change, and it's been going downhill a little bit since the end of last season, getting blown out by NC State, and then kind of a downward trend in recruiting, kind of see the writing was on the wall in some bad performances this year. So a move for the health of the Carolina football program had to be made, and so I credit Bubba for having the stones to make that move, to call the bluff of a very powerful man in Mack Brown, who does curry favor with a lot of big-time donors who fund the program. But you got to think, like, what's more important? Like you said, like, winning is the most important thing. So you got to think these donors and everybody involved around UNC football wants to win. And Bubba felt that Mack Brown wasn't the guy to take the program to the next level, and it was time for a change. And we talk about this on Big Hitters Only podcast. Mack Brown, I mean, credit, and he did a great job for UNC football. He raised the floor. He brought so much money in for infrastructure,
right,
in terms of facilities and getting the donors back involved with the program. But I think he was a bridge to the next chapter of UNC football, and he did his job. He raised the floor. He had some great moments with some great quarterbacks, some wins. And look, they were winning 8-9 games, and 6 games was not good enough. 6 straight bowl games was not good enough. That kind of tells you what Mack Brown did to get to that level. And 2 great quarterbacks in Drake May and Sam Howell, but it kind of, when you don't have a quarterback like this year, you don't have a good quarterback, kind of see the results. So here we are, and he'll be the bridge, hopefully be the bridge in to a next generation of UNC football.
So what really, and Ross Martin is joining us from the Big Hitters Only podcast. Rate, review, subscribe. What he did both times, Mac 1.0 and Mac 2.0, was raise the floor, right? That's really when he left for Texas, the floor was at a point where the proper hire, unfortunately not where they went, and no offense, Carl Torbush just wasn't the right guy. And the program, after that, it was John Bunting, and I love John. He's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. But the program just kind of, it didn't crater. It just wasn't any better than okay at any point. Actually, John's best year might have been his first year. But it didn't advance. Mack Brown left it in a way that it should have advanced. And he's done that again. So full marks to accomplishing that twice in the same place. It's hard to do that twice in the same place. Greg Schiano has not done that at Rutgers with his second go-round. Randy Edsall didn't do that at Connecticut. Didn't they get rid of the program at one point after Edsall came back? How is Mack Brown going to be remembered, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, to my memory, I'm not exactly sure what went on in the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, but Mack Brown's the best UNC football coach ever in terms of his wins and what he's done. It's not like UNC football is winning championships. It's not like a huge competition on that list. But yeah, he raised the floor, and I think Carolina means a lot to him, and he's a great guy. I mean, he is a likable, great human being to be around, and you see why he is such a good recruiter, and he's so good with alums and donors when you talk with him and interview him and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, he's the most important football coach for UNC football in the last 30, 40 years. I think he'll be remembered. This 2.0 will be remembered for the high-powered offenses with Sam Howell and Drake May, who are both in NFL, and guys like Josh Downs, who are in the NFL. Those were some really fun teams and fun offenses with Phil Longo, who just got fired in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But they had some awesome wins. They're down in Miami with Javonte Williams and Michael Carter. But I do think that back to what Mack will be remembered for, they never won the big game. They never won the top 10 game. He only won one bowl game. When they were getting to that top 15, top 10 range, they would fall flat against a tough opponent or lose to like a Georgia Tech or Virginia. So there were definitely some missteps in not winning the games you should, and then not winning like a signature big-time win to kind of get that program to the next level. But I think UNC fans, and we talked about this on the podcast, like UNC fans want 8, 9, 10 wins and to compete for ACC championships. They're not asking for college football playoff or national championships. They're asking to be in the talk at the end of the season for the ACC championship, and that means getting to 8, 9, 10 wins and then beating your rival, NC State, is very important. And I think Max lost the last 3 against Diamond Dave Dorn over in Raleigh. And this is a big one on Saturday. This is a chance for the UNC players to win one for Mack Brown to go out on top, to deny the Wolfpack a bowl game. So instead of fans kind of hoping Mack Brown loses this game so that he will get fired, they can now cheer for UNC to beat NC State and go out with a big win to end his tenure in Chapel Hill.
Fans are always put in these spots of rooting against their own heart. Ross Martin, Big Hitters Only podcast at Ross Martin NC on Twitter. Let me know if you're on Blue Sky. We'll promote that next time as well. Hey, thank you very much for your time, man. Hope you have fun with the rivalry game. We're going to we have to name it at some point. It deserves a name. But I'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
I appreciate it, Adam.
You got it. Ross Martin here on the Adam Gold Show. Chip Patterson, we've made him wait. That bothers me.
But I'm here.
And you're here.
I am.
So I will blame you. Chip Patterson will join us next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
You've got the gobbler? We've got a Thanksgiving football feast for you. Chicago and Detroit at 1. The New York Giants and Dallas at 4:30. And Miami and Green Bay at 8:20.
Caught by Goff at the goal line. Near side. Touchdown Detroit. The wide receiver just threw a touchdown pass to the quarterback. Now we have seen it all.
Chow down all day long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and I'm not sure you've heard, it's Thanksgiving week, so epic football moments are there for you since the football starts on Thursday and runs basically throughout the rest of the weekend. And right now, new customers can bet $5, win that $5 bet, and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. That's amazing. We want new customers to have fun, so pick something easy, win it, move on. Get all your bonus bets. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold to join today. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Get your bonus bets. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Let's have a little fun this weekend. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to HIMSS.com/joy.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Global Golf, home to the best deals in golf, has all the best holiday gifts for the golfer in your life. Get huge deals like pre-owned drivers starting at $50 and golf shirts starting at $15. Plus special savings on this year's hottest clubs from TaylorMade, Callaway, and more. Global Golf Retail Store located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Home to the world's largest selection of pre-owned golf gear.
Discover the thrill of precision and elegance with Omega this holiday season. From the depths of the ocean to the heights of space, Omega's Seamaster and Speedmaster collections are crafted for those who dare to explore. With a heritage rooted in innovation and a timeless style inspired by sports, space, and cinematic legends, Omega is the gift for every adventurer. Find your perfect watch at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted best jeweler. Learn more at baileybox.com.
It's Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Stack up the savings with deals all month. Get up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, take an additional 10% off when you buy select major appliances. And don't wait to save on string lights, starting at just $2.98 for 100 count. Shop these deals in-store or online now, because Lowe's knows deals. Appliances valid 11/6 to 12/4. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowes.com for details and qualifying items. String lights valid 11/21 through 12/4 while supplies last.
This is Adam Gold.
Georgia needs Alabama to beat LSU right now. And Georgia fans are beside themselves thinking that they have to root for Alabama for anything. So, I mean, it's messy everywhere.
The Adam Gold Show.
I'm fairly certain that this is not for me. Welcome back to the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's producing the program.
On a Chip Day.
And this is how we get Chip and Victoria back together on the radio, is that I tricked Victoria into having Chip on a Tuesday, so Victoria's here. Chip Patterson, the one and only. So I'm sure you guys have already connected. Thank you very much for joining us a day early. And before we have had a chance to mock the committee's mocking of the college football playoff, but before we get to that, and we are going to talk at least a little bit about that in our allotted time today, just your thoughts. And I'm sure you guys have discussed it, whether or not you've done a Cover 3 podcast already, or it was something that you guys talked about, man, when is this going to happen? Because it probably should have. I think it should have happened at the end of last season. But just your thoughts on Mack Brown being let go by the university.
First of all, two things. Number one, you are a real friend. A real friend builds bridges and, tries to mend things. And clearly that's what you've done here with my fractured relationship with Victoria. And I appreciate your friendship for that. I'm sure she does as well. Number two, I just want to say a real thank you earnestly from the bottom of my heart to Lawrence Bubba Cunningham, to Mack Brown, to Jeremy Sharp, to everybody at North Carolina University administration for timing this perfectly for Chip. Because people say, what are you still a fan? Like, what do you root for? And I've always said I root for me. I root for all my picks to be correct, for my opinions to sound smart, and I root for things that are not going to turn my day upside down. So the fact that this news, which for the record did surprise me as I received it, the fact that this news came to me shortly before a Cover 3 podcast was scheduled to go, as I am sitting alone in my office, not with my family, out at lunch somewhere, and as I have enough time to be able to jump on CBS Sports HQ and do the Cover 3 podcast and start to work on a column and visit with my friend Adam Gold, because we practice multi-platform excellence, I thank the University of North Carolina for perfect timing with this surprising announcement. So I thought it was a surprise. I understood the thought process if you were going to bring Mack Brown back for 2025. I understood it from a perspective of looking around the country and seeing that at Florida, at Baylor, at Arkansas. I mean, even before Billy Napier had run off back-to-back wins against LSU and Ole Miss, we were seeing some of these power conference schools looking at the uncertain future of college athletics, looking at the potential of revenue sharing, looking at the more changes that could be ahead, and just thinking that maybe now's not exactly the time to be able to navigate these choppy waters. And I thought that with the experience of that a program builder and a CEO like Mack Brown can provide would be better than giving an opportunity to a coordinator that's never been a head coach before. And historically, not always coordinators, but your hiring pool is not bringing in a lot of coaches that can say that they've got that big time run a program throughout all kinds of changes. Those are things that I thought made sense when it came to bringing Mack Brown back. However, now that the news has happened, now that we've had some time to digest it, talk about it, and I've had a time to reach out to some people within the industry, it is potentially a very, very shrewd move. Because what North Carolina is right now, as Florida, as Arkansas, as all these other schools are not making moves on their coach, North Carolina is the number one job in the coaching carousel. And North Carolina has not been the number one job in the coaching carousel.
Right.
That when we've got our revenue sports changes that have happened recently, getting Larry Fedora out was spoken or unspoken, reported or unreported, likely packaged with bringing Mack Brown in.
Yes.
Not to mention that coming off of 2-win season, 3-win season, it just was a program that was not in a good, healthy place. It was not as attractive a job as it could have been. Obviously, when Butch Davis is out and you have to reach down to Conference USA to go get Larry Fedora, you've got a program that is in the middle of an NCAA investigation. Butch Davis, because he wasn't employed at the time, was not really as much of a traditional search, especially when you go back and you try to remember the timeline.
Oh, yeah.
And
Fired John Bunting in the middle of the season. He showed up at the press conference wearing a light blue, just regular button-down that did not have any UNC logo on it. It was like, you can't take the university off of me, but you could rip the university logo out of my heart. Type of a deal. And I love John. John is still somebody I communicate with. I've just, although it's been a while, but I loved John Bunting here. So
let's position ourselves. North Carolina's never had this position. North Carolina has not, in the modern era, North Carolina has never been as attractive of a job against the competition in a coaching cycle as it is in 2024. And that is a credit to Mack Brown and the work that Mack Brown has done during this last tenure to be able to repair a lot of things that were broken. And so now I ask the university, are you going to make a serious football hire? Because, look, okay.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
The realm of possibilities includes some unserious football hires. So the realm of possibilities includes a safe hire, a cheap hire, a hire that just kind of makes sense, an easy hire. There is the potential, again, because as I spoke to somebody, this was the quote: North Carolina is the belle of the ball. The coaching carousel runs through Chapel Hill.
Well,
so
okay.
So what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with this opportunity?
Here's why it is the belle of the ball. And it might have been otherwise, and it might still be, because it's only November 26th. So we're not.
No, but it won't be next year.
Okay, what I'm saying is, I don't believe this year is over, even though Florida, Arkansas, Baylor all decided to stay put with their coaches. And look, Billy Napier might end up honestly working out at Florida. I don't know. They're certainly playing better now. But I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, the Cover 3 podcast, Chip Patterson. I'm not sure you've heard of it. You should rate, review, and subscribe. And I was listening to Bud Elliott say, isn't it amazing that we've had no division, no FBS, I think it was no FBS firings. And he goes, he set the over-under at 0.5. I remember that from the Cover 3. And I'm like,
well, he said power conference, but you're right.
Okay, power conference.
Yeah. Don't forget that literally half of the American Athletic Conference fired their coaches.
That's right. Was it? I think it might be more than half, right?
Yeah, it's 6 AAC jobs, and with Blake Harrell getting the full-time tag, and it looks like Davidson's head coach is going to end up going to Temple. Some of those are starting to fill up right now, but yeah, the point that you're making is we thought that there would be none. But I think I did follow that up with, it's looking like we're just basically on retirement watch. And this is a firing, and the mechanics of this are messy, as I understand it.
Yeah. Because he wasn't our mutual friend, Bomani Jones, who was on with us last week, and specifically to talk about Mack Brown, because last week we got the news leaked through the college football insiders that Mack was coming back. He was telling people that he was going to come
it
and
was
coach
not
it.
Mack was coming back. You always have to be really careful with the wording.
Leaning
the wording
towards?
of the report. No, the wording of the report was Mack was telling people he was coming back.
Right.
And so again, my response was, so would I if I was Mack Brown. The report was not sources at the university have said Mack Brown is coming back. The wording of the report was Mack Brown is telling players, staff, and recruits that he'll be back for 2025. And I think Mack wanted to be back for 2025.
Oh, he definitely wanted to come back for 2025. Because I know how I listen to the Cover 3 podcast a lot, and I have spoken over frothy beverages with you and with Bud and with Danny Canales. I have yet to meet face-to-face with Tom Fornelli, which may or may not be a good thing. I'm not sure. But so I mean, I know you guys well enough. Don't you believe that everybody wanted this to really, other than, Mack Brown's side, that everybody at the university really wanted this to end last year?
Oh, no, I can't say that confidently. No, definitely.
I think so. I think the university wanted this to end last year. That's what
it
I think.
Is. I think you cannot. I think the university community has been too fractured to use a phrase like everybody. I think
you're right. You're right.
I think there's been way too much division, even within the board. We had a university president who just straight up packed up and left for Michigan State.
Yeah.
Then the interim comes in. Is he even going to be there? Did we even do a fair university president search? And there's just been way too much at the administrative level. Bubba went to some meetings and they tried to cook him.
Right.
It was. I cannot feel comfortable supporting or backing up any phrase that says everybody.
You're right. You're right. That's my fault.
Everyone at UNC encompasses a lot of people that don't agree with each other or see eye to eye on damn anything.
You know what? You would be, and I guess you are actually, an incredible editor. Seriously. Uncanny how good you are at that. Because you're right. Everybody is not correct.
Right.
There were definitely some that I believe wanted last year to be the last season. I thought it was going to be based on Mack's always been very open, very cordial. And last year, man, they got about 5 games in and shut it down. Just shut it down. And so I thought last year was really the end. And conversations I've had, I think enough people, well, maybe that's not even right. I'll have to beg your forgiveness. But there were some people who thought that last year should have been the end. But regardless, it has to be the end now. Do you have anything else that you think is important about this before I spend 3 minutes on the college football playoff?
The opportunity, the candidates that you hear are going to be far-reaching because it is the best job available.
Sure.
And I would not jump on any one of them because I think that it will be a search with due diligence. I think it will be a it's almost English, a proper search.
Should be.
It should be. This is not something to be handled by a few. This should be a well thought out, well executed search based on the opportunity that's there. Oh, here's my last point. This is good. I'm sorry, college football playoff, but this is important.
All right.
So there's another university at the power conference level that has always been viewed as a basketball school. And some important people sat down with this university's important people, and they said, your banners are cute, and we love your passion, but if you want to sit at the big boys table in the foreseeable future, you need to start being a serious football program.
Right.
And that program went and hired Curt Cignetti. And when Curt Cignetti started winning, they gave him a contract extension that would make him one of the highest paid coaches in the ACC. And in that contract is a boatload of money for all of the assistants and all of the support staff. Indiana decided to be serious about its football program to secure its long-term future. Because I'm not talking about conference realignment. I'm not talking about Big Ten or SEC. I'm talking about if there truly is a schism division-wide at the NCAA level, or if the NCAA ceases to exist, being a great basketball school is not a guarantee to being able to get on the other side of the fence. And so Indiana was told, if you really want to make it to the other side of the fence, being a part of the Big Ten is not a guarantee. Got to get serious about this football program.
See, that's true. Staying within, because I think you and I are probably in the same page. So, yes, our college football conversation will wait until next Wednesday. But that's fine, because they're just going to fake it again on, Tuesday of next week. So
the talking points are, how far is the SEC team that ain't making the playoff going to fall?
I mean, I think the talking point is really about Indiana versus SMU. And I'm going to throw Clemson. And I sent you my bracket, which included both SMU and Clemson, but not Indiana. That's just my bracket. I'm not trying to predict what they're going to do. But again, we're going to have to wait for that conversation until Wednesday, after we're done digesting Thanksgiving, whatever.
Clemson's going to lose to the Chickens.
They might, and that's fine.
I can tell you that having a banged-up offensive line against South Carolina is a horrendous position to be in.
And that's fine. And when they lose, boom, they're done. They're not getting, well, I mean, it's debatable whether they'd get in just with that win. Anyway, but I think you and I are in the same page about the world of college football and what it looks like 10 years from now. Might be unrecognizable to people like me, more so than you, although, I mean, you're significantly younger than me, but you're not like 11. So people who grew up like loving a college football universe that looks even drastically different than it does today. And I think it will be virtually unrecognizable in 10 years. I really do. I think it's going to be a bigger version of the NFL.
Right. My response was about, as I'm just listening to you, because I mean, one of the keys of our conversations is listening. You know, being a good editor requires listening, but it is recognizable. It'll look like the NFL.
Yeah.
And I don't love that. And for the record, I do not love that. That is not, it's not why I signed up for this.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
I
hate it.
I've learned to maintain my appreciation for college football because of the humanity and the community, because those are real people. And that, like, you can just feel like the world is crumbling, but you spend 2 days around the enormous body that is a football team and all the support staff, and you get to see the same sort of like passion and the same sort of just youthfulness that has always drawn people to college sports in general. Some coaches have completely lost their mind as the money has gone up, but there's still some good ones out there.
Right.
And so it is tens of thousands of people that make their entire weekend about coming together, putting on their team's colors and going to the stadium.
Yeah.
And college football is losing its soul, but I promise you there's still some humanity in there.
Yeah, by the way, I thought you were describing Mack, actually. Because I think Mack, one of the reasons why this year, as it turns out, in retrospect, it was good that he was here, because I don't think there's another coach that could have
negotiated. They could have handled the Tyler Kraft situation.
No, I don't think there's not a single coach in college football was better suited to handling what needed to be handled with young people and burying a friend and a teammate. I think Mack was the perfect person for that. Chip, you are the best.
We still have great leaders of men. Mack Brown will always be remembered as a great leader of men.
No question about it. I appreciate your time. I know you guys are headed to the Big Ten championship game next week, but I believe you're going to be at home base on Wednesday, correct?
Correct. I'll be flying up Thursday, so I'm all good to get back to our Wednesday 1:15 spot. And who knows, maybe Victoria will switch around her schedule and actually come and join us.
Nope, will not happen. Chip Patterson, my friend, I appreciate your time. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
Chip Patterson, the best here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, when we come back, There are going to be people that will legitimately think, I just don't know why they don't get along.
100%. And they're wrong. We're fine. But I did tell Chip I will make a point every Wednesday that I'm not here to send him a text.
Okay.
To say, it's a Chip Patterson Wednesday wherever I'm at.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. We'll stretch. We have yet. I made all sorts of notes for today. And then we get to 10:30 and like the whole thing, which is fine. Right. I got zero problem with it. And if very quickly, I'll just take you behind our curtain. I never want this to happen. I never want to see Mack Brown fired on my board. I don't want to see those types of things. I don't like these stories. But these are, to me, the days where I have the most interest in like storytelling. So fun is not the right word. But in terms of how we do our job, how we give you information, entertain you, whatever. These are the days that you relish in our position.
Yeah. Reminisce on the good times.
Well, it's reminiscing, but it's also, I think, trying to present the, framing somebody like Mack. Like, here's what we haven't done today at all. Nobody, zero people today have said, yeah, man, the defense sucked. We haven't seen any of that because you shouldn't. We shouldn't do that today. We know what the problems were with the football program. We know it. They didn't get the most out of the first 5 years with 2 NFL quarterbacks. And maybe the first year, actually, with Sam Howell. The first emergence, like, whoa. But to me, and this is why I've told people, this is like a celebration of who Mack Brown was. So we'll come back. We'll stretch. We haven't talked about the best thing that happened last night.
I know.
Might hit that. And then we'll place bets next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, and this Thanksgiving we are serving up epic football moments with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win that wager. The FanDuel app dishes out all the ingredients you need to place live bets, same-game parlays, so much more. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid instantly right away. Visit FanDuel.com/AGS to join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 wager. Make Thanksgiving extra special with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Agriculture drives our local economy. I'm Lee Ivey, director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University, and we are looking for our next generation of leaders. If you want to make a difference and help feed the world, join us at the Ag Institute, where we grow successful graduates, productive futures, and rewarding lifestyles. We offer 2-year degrees and hundreds of internships. Learn more online by searching NC State Ag Institute. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
Open enrollment for health insurance is here, but don't worry. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance has you covered for all your health insurance needs, including Medicare. And with offices in every county, a trusted, experienced agent is just around the corner, ready to help find a plan that's right for you. Visit ncfbins.com or stop by your local office today. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Have you lost North Carolina Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
AARP reminds you that November is National Family Caregivers Month. While family caregivers should be celebrated every day, this is a time to recognize and honor those taking care of their loved ones by raising awareness around caregiving issues, educating communities, and working to increase support for our nation's caregivers. Learn about this topic and more by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is Adam Gold.
We don't need Al Roker in a suit doing yoga.
No.
And Al, to his credit, recognized that and said, you know what? I am not getting into Warrior 2.
I'm stopping at Downward Dog.
There will be no, he didn't get to that. Like, heck no.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. We will resume the conversation about Mack Brown coming up next hour. In lieu of that, last night at the Big Think Pad over on Edwards Mill Road here in Raleigh, the Carolina Hurricanes, as I tried to express in a multi-tiered thread. Is it a thread on Blue Sky?
I have no idea.
It is on Threads. But,
no clue.
First period was bad. Hurricanes could have easily been down more than 2-1. The moment of brilliance in the shorthanded goal that Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho combined on.
Oh, it was so pretty. Great passing.
The defensive play by Jarvis at the blue line, the pass, the patience, and then the pass from Aho to Jarvis, and then the finish. It's one of the things that makes you go, oh my gosh, what did I just watch? It was gorgeous. And really, really difficult to pull off in all 3 phases of that. Second period was a little bit better. Not tons better, but a little bit better. Less messy from Carolina, but not dramatically so. And I thought Spencer Martin played very well in the second period. They did give up the goal. Wasn't his fault. It came right after Jackson Blake nearly made it 2-2, and then Carolina kind of fell apart in all 3 zones. And really, it was not Spencer Martin's problem, that goal. But then the turning point, believe it or not, came when Carolina took a late second period penalty, because the best part of Carolina's game last night was the penalty kill. They not only scored a goal, they got momentum. Each time Dallas went to the power play, Carolina just sucked the life out of it. and they got momentum from it, and they actually, while they didn't score two shorthanded goals, Martin Necas had maybe 2 steps onto the ice before Seth Jarvis found Sebastian Aho across the rink for an easy put-away to make it 3-2 to start the uprising in the third period. It was tremendous. Great third period from Carolina. The only goal that Spencer Martin probably wants back was the fourth one. The first 3, I don't think he's really got much of a chance on. Fourth one, I think the fourth one he wants. Even though he was also screened on that, I think he just handled that situation poorly. Anyway, we could talk about that more a little bit later on, but I didn't want to ignore the fact that the Hurricanes came from behind against a team that had gone 11-0-0 with a second period, a lead after 2 periods, and the Hurricanes won that game. Tremendous performance. Did I destroy this 7th inning stretch?
Okay, I'll do this really quick. So, luckily we did not see this at home at Bank of America Stadium, but Patrick Mahomes now has a little lighter wallet, 0.03% actually. He makes $50 million a year, but he was fined $14,000. $14,069 for a violent gesture he made during the Buffalo Bills game where he got a touchdown and did like the finger guns or whatever. So the NFL's like really cracking down on anything.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Who knows? I know.
Whatever.
Exactly.
He won't miss it.
He wasn't pointing at anyone, but I guess they have things that they want to point out. So, yes, he got fined a little over $14,000 for his celebration against the Buffalo Bills.
It's a good thing he wasn't using a prop.
Exactly. Now it's time for Place Your Bets.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Yeah. Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, we've only got a minute,
Mm-hmm.
so where do you want to go? You start.
Mine's all on the ice. So the Utah Hockey Club is showing up. They're in Montreal, though, taking on the Canadiens. I think the Utah Hockey Club might win this one. So give me them to win, and it'd be over 6.5. That's plus 240.
By the way, do you remember the player I selected to score a goal for West Ham yesterday? Thomas Souček.
Oh.
He did.
They did it.
Plus 750. I hope people took my advice. I don't expect that you did because most people went, who the heck is Thomas Souček? Which
Like me.
I totally
I'm
understand.
people.
But I was right about that, and I will be right about this. North Carolina will send Mack Brown out a winner. Take the Tar Heels outright money line over 55.5. Do it. Mack Brown will go out on shoulders.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friend Coach Pete Deruta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. Why do we call him Coach? Because he has a game plan for your retirement needs. Whatever your goals are in retirement, maybe you want to start another business in retirement. That's interesting. Maybe you just want to sit on your front porch and drink lemonade. Coach Pete can help you. You know, a lot of coaches have trouble in the red zone. Have Coach Pete help you negotiate the financial red zone. Yes, there is one of those. You just need to ask Coach Pete about it. Here's how you do that. 888-843-0013. 888-843-0013. Or you can text Adam to 600-700. A total customized retirement plan for you. $1,000 value to somebody else. You get it free. Does that sound like a plan? It should sound like a plan. 888-843-0013 for total freedom financially in retirement with Coach Pete Deruta.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time.
Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go! It's Bo time!
The Ram Black Friday sales event is going on now, with great deals on a wide selection of powerful and dependable Ram trucks. Right now, finance and get $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for this Black Friday offer. $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 12/2/24.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. Not available in Washington State.
What is dedication?
I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov.
It's Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Stack up the savings with deals all month. Get up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, take an additional 10% off when you buy select major appliances. And don't wait to save on string lights, starting at just $2.98 for 100 count. Shop these deals in-store or online now, because Lowe's knows deals. Appliances valid 11/6 to 12/4. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items. String lights valid 11/21 to 12/4 while supplies last.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
And from the shotgun to throw, Murphy backpedal, steps up in the pocket, fires downfield, got his man Panko. He's got it in stride 30, 25, 20, one play. How about a touchdown? Eli Panko takes it 86 yards on senior night. Murphy to throw to the left. He's got Panko again. The defender fell down across midfield, 45 and 40. It's a foot race. It's over. Panko's done it again. And he's doubled the lead with 8:40 to go in the opening quarter. It's 13-0 with the extra point to come. This time from 77 yards out.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. That was the that last voice you heard there, Dave Harding. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He will join us in 15 minutes. If Duke could have kicked the field goal against SMU, they could be 9-2. One game left against Wake Forest. 10-2. A win over SMU. Some of the other wins that they've got this year have been fairly good. Yeah, they lost to Miami. And who else did they lose to? I'm drawing a blank on it now, but it doesn't matter. I'm not saying they'd be in the playoff, but they wouldn't be too far out of the discussion, and that would have been amazing. I think they lost to Louisville. I think that was their other loss this year. I mean, just a really good football team. And for those people who do not know, and I'm sitting here with the reminder, and ESPN's College Football Live just started, and you see the board behind me. Mack Brown fired today as North Carolina's head coach. And in the wall of sound, we're going to have you listen to some recent Mack, like yesterday, as well as from the introductory press conference. But he did release his own statement. So this comes from Mack Brown. And I just want to read it, and then we will get into the Wall of Sound. While this was not the perfect time and way in which I imagined going out, no time will ever be the perfect time. I've spent 16 seasons at North Carolina and will always cherish the memories and relationships Sally and I have built while serving as head coach. We have had the chance to coach and mentor some great young men, and will miss having the opportunity to do that in the future. Moving forward, my total focus is on helping these players and coaches prepare for Saturday's game against NC State and give them the best chance to win. We want to send these seniors out right, and I hope our fans will show up Saturday to do the same. That is a statement from Mack Brown on his ouster at the University of North Carolina, which happened officially this morning. The university sending the email out just after 10:30, where they made it official, so it wasn't like so-and-so is reporting. Nope, this is the university saying this indeed has happened. All right, let's get to the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
By the way, I am not in the business of being like a coaching insider, so this is of zero, has no credibility. This is not reporting or anything. I will just make this statement. Trey Oliver is a hell of a football coach.
Oh, yeah.
A hell of a football coach.
He's fun. He's spunky.
Fun, but a hell of a ball coach. Just saying that. Maybe because I just felt like saying it. All right, in the Wall of Sound. Yesterday, Mack Brown doing his, weekly. We're going to get him this time. We didn't get him last time, but we're going to get him this time, meeting with the media. And he was asked if he had any conversations with Bubba Cunningham about what's next.
You never talk to your athletic director till the year's over. Everybody always does that. My total focus is on NC State. What an awful thing to be talking about me when we just played a bad game and need to beat State.
And I guess just along those lines, is it still your intention to return next season?
Yes.
So, there you go. Still his intention to return next season. I wish that his intention was to not. But he wasn't going to say it there. I wish he would not have addressed it yesterday. And I have no idea what the tipping point was in the conversation, why North Carolina got to the point where today we had to go this way, this route. But this is where we are. Mack Brown did talk about the type of year, which was not as good as anybody would have liked, but will end, at the very least, in a bowl game, what this year's been like.
This has been a real learning year for me because of Tylee. And I learned after we lost Tylee that if you have your health, you've got everything. If you and your family and your friends have their health, you've got no problems. Everything else we try to fix in our lives. But some of that we can't fix. And I saw Tylee at 23 have his life taken away when we couldn't fix it. We kept him alive for a long time. So I have learned at 73 years old for the first time that every morning I get up, I better be grateful if I have my health and my family has their health and my friends have their health and this football team has its health.
To me, that, as much as anything, speaks to why it was good that Mack Brown was here this year. Chip Patterson agreed with my assessment. I appreciate that, especially after as many times as he edited me and corrected me during that conversation. He was right every single time. Every single time he was right. I'm not in any way complaining about it. I do not, if people have a correction for me, if I believe that they are correct, I will absolutely accept it. But I do believe that there is no other coach in the country, especially at major college football, that would have handled the death of a teammate even as well. Not just as well. I don't think anybody could have handled it as well as Mack Brown did. My read on Mack Brown, the football coach, is more compassionate, more empathetic than anybody else in this, at the highest level of this profession. And again, I said this also, I'm not entirely sure that it's even possible to demonstrate this level of empathy and human compassion and be great at recruiting, winning. I just don't know that those two things can work together. They might be entirely separate entities. All right, so I thought we'd bring back the introductory press conference. And I actually, it was cool that Mack and Sally wanted to come back to North Carolina. But here's Mack on what his vision was, what he wanted to accomplish at UNC.
And at the same time, our common purpose is for them to have a great experience here, for them to learn to be better people when they get out of here and have a wonderful life afterwards. And we want them to win. I've tried that both ways. And winning's a lot more fun than that other stuff. It's not even close. It's not even in the same ballpark. And then I want to meet the coaches that are here and the staff that's here. They've worked really, really hard. And those kids played hard this year. And then I want to reach out to recruits and high school coaches and all of those things that we have missed. We had a great relationship with the high school coaches when we left here. And that's something we will renew, the ones that are still out there, and we'll get to know the new guys, because that is such a key to getting better.
The relationships with the high school coach, with the high school coaching community in North Carolina will be Mack 2.0's greatest achievement. It will be. Mack 2.0's greatest achievement will have been reestablishing the roots that you have to have in a state with as many good football players as North Carolina has. You have to have it. And that, to me, is Mack's, that would be his signature accomplishment at UNC in this iteration. By the way, he did finish in the top 15 of the college football playoff ranking. That was in 2020, pandemic years, a little weird, obviously. And wasn't that after the crazy loss to NC State? So we talk about this rivalry coming up this weekend as being, wow, this is just, these games get weird.
Right.
The Russell Wilson 2-yard Hail Mary. Go watch the play and tell me that's not a Hail Mary.
Oh, it was.
The Giovanni Bernard kickoff return, I think, qualifies because it was at the end of a pretty wild comeback. And in fact, I think State either retook the lead. I don't remember all the details of the game. Either retook the lead or still hung on to the lead when Bernard returned the punt for the touchdown. And the way that Carolina State game ended during the pandemic year was, I just don't, it's not even explainable that NC State won that game. You couldn't, if you looked at it on paper, you went, I'm not entirely sure this is physically possible. It's like physics. Nah, that can't happen. And yet we watched it. So I hope we get something goofy again on Saturday. I really do. Hope we get something completely nutty on Saturday when these two teams go at it. All right, when we come back, Dave Harding, the analyst, Duke Radio Network. We'll ask him about Mack, but also Manny Diaz and the job he has done. We'll let him lobby for Coach of the Year for Manny Diaz. All of that next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Duke, UNC, and State men's basketball. It seems like every single day another one of them is playing a top 10 team in the country in their non-conference schedule. That's not by accident. Yes, they'll take their lumps, may even lose a couple games, but they'll be battle-tested, and that is worth its weight in gold when the postseason comes around. It's why they surprise every year.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and it's a week of food and family and football and trying not to talk to your family because you want to watch football. Maybe you could talk about a 3-leg parlay, because right now at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, it is a no-sweat NFL same-game parlay celebration. So pick a 3-leg parlay in the same game. If it doesn't win, FanDuel will give you bonus bets in return. How about that? A free swing at a same-game parlay. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
'Tis the season to make memories that will last a lifetime. This Christmas, give the gift of love and commitment with a stunning engagement ring from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Take it from me, Marcy Bailey, an engagement ring is the gift of a lifetime. Unlock the magic of the season with a holiday proposal. At Bailey's Fine Jewelry, we understand that every love story is unique, and that's why we offer the widest selection of exquisite engagement rings to fit every style and budget. Bailey's provides an incredible 30-day money-back guarantee and a unique 100-day price protection, making it easier than ever to give the gift of forever this Christmas. Oh, and if you're already married, maybe it's time for Santa to upgrade your ring this year. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is voted best jeweler and best place to buy a diamond. We've made Christmas dreams come true since 1948. After all, every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been sighted across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
It's Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Stack up the savings with deals all month. Get up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, take an additional 10% off when you buy select major appliances. And don't wait to save on string lights, starting at just $298 for 100 count. Shop these deals in-store or online now, because Lowe's knows deals. Appliances valid 11/6 to 12/4. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items. String lights valid 11/21 through 12/4 while supplies last.
Smile Train has helped millions of kids with clefts. Learn more at smiletrain.org/learn.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Still a lot to do in the program. We'll talk about what happened last night on Edwards Mill Road right around 9 o'clock. We will maybe discuss some other football matters. There was a football game last night, NFL game last night we haven't discussed at all. I just saw the list of Broyles Award nominees, and this is an award given out to the best assistant coach in college football. And Clemson's offensive line coach, Matt Luke, is among the nominees. And I'm fairly certain, not 100% sure, but fairly certain that Matt Luke might have been a position coach at one time for the one and only Dave Harding, who joins us on the Adam Gold Show, Duke Radio, Blue Devil Network executive producer, handsome man. He joins us at Dave Harding Jr. on Twitter. Was Matt Luke your position coach at any point at Duke?
He was. He helped recruit me to Duke and coached me, I think it was for 2 years, and did a great job. I still talk to him on a regular basis now. I think what separates him from a lot of other offensive line coaches, other than the fact that he played the position at Ole Miss, is the understanding of why you are doing certain things in the run game and pass protection game, and teaching the true X's and O's behind the position, as opposed to just getting up there and saying, look, you've got to be physical and move this kid from A to B. He wants you to know the linebacker location and why a safety might be influencing something. And so it was a lot, truthfully, for a freshman or a young offensive lineman to pick up on. And sometimes your head can be spinning, but if you're able to catch on what he's teaching you and get the context for a lot of the technique that you need to play with, he changed the trajectory of my college career, because that my understanding of the game was my only shot at being a good offensive lineman, because I was kind of undersized. And he's a phenomenal coach.
Also, I want to point out John David Baker, East Carolina offensive coordinator, was named a finalist. And look at Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator at Ohio State, who, if I'm not mistaken, was also the defensive coordinator at one point, wearing those yellow armbands at Duke. So a lot of former Duke representatives here. Dave Harding.
Jim Knowles, the mad scientist is what I call him. He is quite the character. Really good at, what is that? It's like that bowling game that with some people have it in their houses with the sand on the hardwood. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's really good at that. I don't even know what it's called, but David Cutcliffe had one of those in his basement. And whenever we were over there, I'd play that game with Jim Knowles, and he'd do very well.
All right. Well, I'm glad you brought up not Jim Knowles, but David Cutcliffe, because I was curious based on news of the day. And I find myself, I don't want to bring other people into the Mack Brown, who was fired today by the University of North Carolina. I don't want to bring other people into that conversation, because not every situation is the same. But can you see similarities between how, Duke and David Cutcliffe didn't see maybe eye to eye on when they needed to transition to a new coach, and North Carolina?
Yeah, I can. And I don't have full understanding, given that obviously all that news just broke today, of what all happened. I know Mack came out on record and said that he expected to be back next year, and there are 3 more years left on his contract. Yep. How much of that was discussed behind closed doors? How much of that was Mack being the stand-up person that he is, saying that he is going to coach for as long as he has committed to coach for, and he's got that agreement with the university, and so he's planning to come back next year, knowing that there were some rumblings going on behind the scenes that might, make that decision for him. I don't know, but I would suspect that could be the case. And if you can draw parallels between the two coaches, and I think this goes beyond just Mack Brown and David Cutcliffe, this goes into the basketball realm with Jay Wright, Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams. like this new era of college sports, particularly in the Power Four, and particularly in the two sports of men's basketball and football, it is an all new game, and you've got to be aggressive in the recruiting trail, but in the NIL space, and gone are the days of it being the developmental program and having people in there for 4 and 5 years and building the nucleus of a locker room from ground up. And I think a lot of coaches who were brought up in that era, who were highly successful in that era, either don't have an interest in doing what it takes to participate in the new one, or quite honestly, just are prepared and maybe would prefer more than anything just to have somebody else come in and take care of it. So, and if they tried to do it, it just requires so much effort. It requires so much of a new thinking that maybe it's almost impossible to achieve.
Dave Harding is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, Blue Devil Network, executive producer and the color analyst on Duke Radio during football games. This has been a fun season, to say the least. I remember thinking, it might have been the last time we spoke, which is really my fault that it's been so long. I think it was going into the Louisville game that if Duke could beat Louisville, that there's no reason why we shouldn't start talking about college football playoff discussion. That game notwithstanding, but had Duke been able to convert on a field goal against SMU, they win that game. And I don't know what kind of discussion we're having, but at the very least, Duke is in the mix for one of those spots. It's been a dynamite year one for Manny Diaz. What has been the most impressive thing about the way Duke has played?
Oh my gosh. I mean, think about, and it's easy to sit here and play the what if game. What if Duke beats SMU when they had multiple chances to do so, not only in regulation but also in overtime, and then the other two losses on the schedule, Georgia Tech and Miami, Duke had lead in the second half.
Right. Guys didn't play Louisville. My fault, right?
I think the last time we talked, actually, and I thought I got written off of your program forever, was before the North Carolina game. And something happened with my AT&T carrier, and it booted me from the call.
That's right. No.
And I was giving the best story I could ever give, and it cut me off. And ever since then, you've iced me out of your life. So I'm glad to know that we're back in good graces now. But a lot has happened since that Carolina game, that's for sure.
I can't believe it's been that long. That is my fault. That is absolutely my. So I apologize to you and yours. Your kids are already grown and out out onto college by now.
Exactly. Yep.
But
you know what? I know what it is. You're thinking Thanksgiving food. Who does that bring to mind? Dave Harding. That's what it is.
No, man, you're in fantastic shape at this point in your life, way better than I. So, for me, the most incredible thing has been the aggressive nature that Duke has played on the defensive side of the ball. Like, I don't know where they rank in the national statistics for sacks or tackles for loss, but I do know that that's the staple of their defense. Creating pressure, creating turnovers. They're way in the plus in that category, in spite of the fact that Malik Murphy finds it at times fun to throw interceptions.
Yeah, I would take that a step further to include the offense, in that the biggest surprise for me, or the part that has gotten Duke to the place where they are now, with 8 wins already under the belt, a 10-win season, still very much in play between the game this week at Wake Forest and then the bowl game, is that the speed at which Manny Diaz and his staff got the offense and the defense playing to the standard that they expect. And I still think that there's more growth to be had, which is exciting if you're a Duke fan, given the results that you've seen all year long. But I think, when we were looking at the roster more than anything going into the year, let's start defensively. To your point, Adam, Duke had lost basically all starters along the defensive line. They didn't have answers at linebacker. They felt pretty good about the secondary, but for Manny Diaz and Jonathan Patke, the defensive coordinator, have gone out and found transfers like Kendi Charles and Alex Howard at linebacker. I mean, the list goes on of folks that they've brought in defensively to help in getting to this incredibly aggressive, well-tackling defense that they expect. But they also developed guys well. Aaron Hall along the interior of the defensive line, VJ Anthony, Wes Williams. I mean, this is a group that went from having a ton of question marks to now it's like, oh, why did you ever doubt it? And then go to the offense. Malik Murphy, I think people forget how young he is. And this is his first year as a starter. He hasn't played a ton of college football. He's still got a good bit of eligibility remaining. And you've seen the progression in his game without a doubt from game one to where we are now, even with some of the turnovers that he's been throwing. But more than anything else, the offensive line. Duke played the entire spring with no offensive line. They could barely field a team. They couldn't get up there and practice. That impacts the defense and their progression and their improvement through the spring period. And for Manny Diaz to have gone out and found the pieces necessary to put together this offensive line. Star Thomas, the running back, has been a bell cow, and he is a transfer as well. But for those players to come in on a short notice and to play the way that Duke has wanted to play has been the most impressive part. Yeah. And I think they're still looking for more of that consistency, but you're seeing an offense that plays really fast. That was one of the big things that Jonathan Brewer, the offensive coordinator, said that they were going to do, and they're going to be explosive. This is the most explosive Duke offense we've seen in quite some time. And then defensively, it was all about TFLs, getting into the backfield, tackling well, and they've achieved both of those things. They're just looking to do it more consistently moving forward.
Yeah, when you get on the field and you're the better team against Virginia Tech, and this is, I get it's not, Frank Beamer's Virginia Tech, but I am old enough to remember at the beginning of this season when we were talking about Virginia Tech as a potential player at the top of the Atlantic Coast Conference. I remember that. I remember that about NC State. And I know who the better team was when those teams met on the field. It has been a remarkable season one for Manny Diaz. Before I let Dave Harding go, Wake Forest isn't a joke. I know what their record is. I know that they have been bullied by some bigger, better teams. Can Duke bully Wake Forest and get to 9-3, which is amazing, and take it from there?
I think they absolutely can. It's just a matter of doing what they've done when they're playing well and playing complementary football and doing it consistently. I think that's the big question. And we've seen spurts at times this season where the offense and the defense are both playing at a very high level through entire quarters, sometimes even an entire half. And that's where you see this explosive nature of what Duke can do and bring to the table. Now, it's not like you said, it's not like Wake is just a talentless group. I mean, even look back to the Miami game last week. It kind of played out very similar to the way the Duke game against Miami played out, where you're right in the mix until the third and fourth quarter. Duke had an 11-point lead.
Yes, that's more than in the mix.
Right. And I mean, outside of the 22 points that Miami scored there in the fourth, Wake's got a chance in the game. So there is no lack of respect between both of these programs. Anytime you got the slow mesh going on, which has become the staple of what Wake does, and you've got a very talented running back in Claiborne, it is a challenge because it's very difficult to replicate that during the week and a defense. And we've yet to see, how does the Manny Diaz defense, with how aggressive they are, play against that slow mesh look? And that's a big question for me as we kind of watch that opening couple of series is, does the penetration get there? Are they able to knock off the slow mesh in the backfield? And then, defensively, you've got plenty of talent. Davis is one of the better defensive linemen in the ACC. So they're going to get after the Blue Devils, and it's just a matter of, I think from a talent perspective, Duke's probably got the slight edge. From a momentum standpoint, absolutely. But you got to go out there on the road. A third senior day Duke's playing, because they had State senior day, then Duke's senior day, and then now they're going to go on the road and play at Wake senior day. There are a ton of emotions there. You just got to go in and operate to the standard that we've been talking about.
You guys are undefeated on senior day. Noon in Winston-Salem, going for 3-0. Sending seniors home, in this case, unhappy, but in the last case, happy, and then in the case before that, also unhappy. So keep the run going. Dave Harding, analyst, Duke Radio Network, Blue Devil Network executive producer at Dave Harding Jr., who will be back more frequently than every 8 weeks or whatever it is. Thank you, man. I appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. I got my stretchy pants ready. Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too. Dave Harding. Oh, man.
We talked about stretchy pants before he came on.
Okay, then.
You got to have them ready, people. Thursday's going to get here before you know it.
Somebody who does not need stretchy pants, Chris Lee, WRAL TV5, and the Panthers Playbook podcast next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
From the food we eat to the clothes we wear, agriculture touches every corner of our daily lives. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. With the world's population growing, we need people equipped and trained to meet the needs of our future. In our program, we rise to meet that challenge every day, and our students are engaged and invested. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
Open enrollment for health insurance is here, but don't worry. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance has you covered for all your health insurance needs, including Medicare. And with offices in every county, a trusted, experienced agent is just around the corner, ready to help find a plan that's right for you. Visit ncfbins.com or stop by your local office today. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
Did you and your family lose North Carolina Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
AARP reminds you that November is National Family Caregivers Month. While family caregivers should be celebrated every day, this is a time to recognize and honor those taking care of their loved ones by raising awareness around caregiving issues, educating communities, and working to increase support for our nation's caregivers. Learn about this topic and more by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. I learned about DLN shortly after graduating dental school. I wanted to help people who are not able to access the oral health care they need. As a new dentist, I wondered, do I have the skills to provide the care they need? And do I have the time when trying to build a new practice? Even now, after 10 years, I can tell other dentists, yes, you can, and this is a no-brainer. Dental Lifeline Network is a nonprofit that has helped me literally change the lives of people in my community through the Donated Dental Services program. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one of the many patients in need each year. If you're a dentist or know a dentist, please share this important information. It's easy. DLN screens those in need and coordinates the initial appointment. Patients are treated right in your office on your schedule. If you're like me and want to make a real difference in someone's life, DLN makes it possible.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more. That's willyouseeone.org.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold, Victoria, producing the program. I would like to welcome to the program. We're all good, right? I don't know why I'm doing this on the air, but hi. I want to welcome, easy for me to say, a finalist for the North Carolina Sportscaster of the Year, and my friend, Chris Lee, WRAL, TV5. Congratulations on the nomination.
Congratulations to you, too.
Whatever. Thank you. Go get it. Are you going to campaign? Are you going to lobby for it?
What I was going to ask for somebody, you've won before, right? Like, how do I go about trying to win this thing? Because I feel like between me and you, it's like one of us should probably win this thing.
I'll vote for you because you can't vote for yourself. Right, and you can vote. No, I did win. I don't know, 4 years ago. I didn't even know about it. I didn't know. I kid you not, because I didn't know until I won. I remember taking the phone call, going, "Come on." The thing is, I know the guy who runs the organization. I know him very well, but I had never talked to him about it, and he called me. Yeah,
that's my guy.
And he called me and he goes, "Hey, congratulations." And I went, "For what?" I literally did not know.
I might have to talk to Dave. I might have to give him a call and say, "Hey, when you talk to everybody out there, just put out there that in this calendar year, I've had a documentary. I've won 2 awards for another documentary. I've done play-by-play. I've done wrestling play-by-play. And I've done a really good podcast with Dennis Cox, and that's all before we get to my work at WRAL. So maybe that's the way I try to bring this thing home. And me and you can both be sportscaster of North Carolina winners together.
Hardest working man in show business. That is Chris Lee. All right, before we get to Panthers Playbook, which is when I mentioned in the last segment that we were going to talk to you. I said, host of Panthers Playbook, because we are going to talk about Bryce Young. But you and I work in this business. We work in the same. We don't work in the same building. We do work for the same company, but we work in the same market. And today, pretty big news drops. And Mack Brown fired at the University of North Carolina. And we could dress up the language, but Mack wanted to come back. The university didn't want Mack to come back. And unfortunately, this is not you're not going to have a mutual decision here. There's never a mutual decision. Right. There is some person has the power in this, or some entity, and it's the university in this case. And Mack Brown is simply the employee, as important as he's been. So when you heard the news today, walk me through what you were thinking about.
Honestly, because I got back home late from the Canes game last night, and anybody who works late at night knows you just can't go straight to sleep when you get home.
Right.
And then I had to wake up early this morning and take my 2 little girls to school. So when I came back home, I took a nap, and I woke up to my phone, both of my phones going off, and I look and see what it is, and it's like, okay, it's going to be that type of day.
Yep.
It really caught me off guard, honestly, because it's been funny. A lot of folks from outside of the market have been asking me, folks from Charlotte, folks from Greensboro, hey, you think Mack is going to come back? And the way the question is always been, formed toward me is like, it's Mack's decision. So like, I've always been like, no, if Mack can come back, he will come back. I don't know what the school is going to do, but I don't see a definitive reason to not bring him back because what's the plan after that? And so, honestly, it caught me off guard. I think a lot of it kind of maybe stems back from the bad stretch of weeks they had going to the JMU game, the way they lost that game, the way they lost the Duke game. There's not as many of those high-profile recruits coming in. He's done well. He's going to a bowl game every year. He's been back to Carolina, but I guess things have plateaued. Carolina hasn't lived up to the top 5 ranking, top 10 ranking that they've had during his tenure here. So maybe that's what the school is looking towards. But my question is, like, how do you get there? I'm not saying you can't, but how do you get there with that from here? So without this job being just a stepping stone to the next open SEC job in a couple of years. So those are my questions. Another question I had, I was watching late night after I saw you last night at the Canes game, watching that great comeback UNC basketball had against Dayton, which is amazing. And I see Bubba Cunningham there in Maui. So, like, was he fired over the phone? Was this not like, like face to face, like, hey, man, come in my office, let's talk about this really quick. Like, this must have been a Zoom or a phone call from Maui, just with that. But, I think it's unfortunate news for Mack. I think he would have liked to have finished under his own terms, but I also get the idea of trying to do something new to bring the program to the next level. I'm just not sure that that's going to happen next year. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
It's. I don't know what kind of footing, what is the depth chart of this roster? How many players that you really want to retain are you going to be able to retain? So there are a lot of questions in this era. If we went back 15 years in college football, there's always going to be some attrition when a coach leaves. But now, even when a coach stays, you have to re-recruit your roster. You have to figure out, not only who do we want to keep, but how much do we need to keep the players we want. So this is it. We have no clue what the roster is going to look like next year.
They've already had one person decommit, Xavier Griffin Haynes.
Yeah, big-time recruit.
Class of 2026. Yeah, he's a 4-star, so he's already decommitted. I'm going to be looking towards Kernersville, North Carolina, to see if Bryce Baker is going to decommit as well, big-time quarterback coming out of East Forsyth High School. That's going to be important because you would think that he looked at the landscape of Carolina and say that, hey, Drake May was here, Sam Howell was here. Those guys got drafted, and they were highly touted quarterbacks. Maybe that's why I want to be there as well. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out.
Yeah, and look, I'm not 100% dialed in on all of this, but I believe Sam Howell changed his commitment to North Carolina after Mack Brown's return. And Drake May, it helps when your dad was a star quarterback for the university. That you go there doesn't guarantee you anything. Arch Manning went to Texas. He didn't go to Ole Miss. He didn't go where either of his brothers went. Frankly, they all went to 4 different schools. No. Eli went to the same school as his dad. Archie and Eli both went to Ole Miss. Tennessee, Peyton goes to Tennessee. Arch goes to Texas. So it's not a given that you're going to do what your dad ultimately did. Let's get to Bryce before we have to let you go. So you and I were in the parking lot last night after the game, and I am going to talk about the Canes when we're done here. Bryce Young, I mean, you and Dennis have been doing Panthers Playbook. I don't know how many episodes you've released since the Bryce Young era began, and we can even track it back earlier to that process, right, of who do you go with all the quarterbacks, that they were looking at leading up to that draft pick. This was the first time Bryce looked like that is a guy who looks like he might have been taken number 1 overall. Because I'm not even sure that at any point last season Young looked like that guy. I mean, about time. But what were you thinking watching that?
Yeah, going back to the last season thing first, what I've always kind of maintained is the Green Bay game kind of came together better than any other game. But also, I don't think he had a chance to look that good because of the lack of an offensive line, because of the coaching staff issues, because he had wide receivers that weren't getting open, because the scheme was pretty horrible, because of the change in play calling. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can go back to, and I think those things still apply. With all of that and everything being addressed in the offseason, he still came out in the first 2 games of this year with one of the top, he didn't know this at the time, but one of the top, offensive lines in the NFL, and still stunk up the joint. And his first few games coming back as a starter didn't look that well. And we can go back to the Denver Broncos games. People will look at the final stats and say, man, it looked great. He threw for 2 touchdowns, but one of those was a garbage time touchdown after, the Broncos kind of let the foot off the gas and they were up 28-7. And he got a lot of his yards, most of his yards pretty much after that.
Right.
So seeing what he did against the Chiefs, stepping up, because that people are going to watch this on CBS. That's Patrick Mahomes. People are paying attention to what they're going to do after a loss, and their first loss of the season. And everybody was saying, okay, they're going to come out and take it out on the Panthers because they're so upset about their loss to the Bills. And Bryce Young looked like he belonged. I think you're finally starting to see somebody that is not only just trusting the system, trusting his receivers, trusting his offensive line, but also trusting himself. And I was saying to you, the Chiefs blitzed him a lot. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was going to spell disaster. And he was somebody, he was sure with what he was going to do. If it wasn't there, he was running. And he had some pretty good gains on the run. If he didn't run, he stepped up in a pocket. He didn't care that a defender was close by him. He didn't shuffle his feet. He stayed firm, and he let it fly, and probably should have completed more passes if it weren't for a few drops from his receivers. So, nothing bad really came from Bryce. And so now I'm just kind of hoping that you continue to see this. It's okay if you see it for a game or two, cool, but you were picked number 1 overall. This needs to be something consistent. And so that's the main thing I'll be looking for going forward.
That is Chris Lee. You can follow him on Twitter. Don't know if he's on Blue Sky. At Chris Lee.
I am on Blue Sky.
You are. Is it the same at Chris Lee TV?
Yeah, Chris Lee TV. .bsk whatever it is.
All you got to do is enter the first part. They throw that in. It's like http www.
Right.
So yeah, follow Panthers Playbook. Co-host along with our friend Dennis Cox. I loved the throw that he made under duress, where he took a big shot and got the ball out on time and threw a strike. I thought this was the first game, and the stats bear this out. This was the first game where Bryce Young threw the ball vertically a lot. Yards per attempt, the highest of this 4-game run. Yards per completion, 12.5, the highest of this run. Still, they need to figure out how they're going to take more advantage in the red zone. And by the way, the touchdown passes, and he's thrown more than one, not just threw one in this game, but has thrown others. He throws the ball over the middle of the field in the end zone. I thought you're a short quarterback, you're not supposed to do that. I've always pushed back on he's a short quarterback, it's always going to be hard. Yeah, it's harder, but he throws the ball effectively over the middle. So I just don't get. It just seems like so easy and not necessarily accurate to say that. Well, he's short. Like, yeah, he was short at Alabama too.
Yeah. And, there are other shorter quarterbacks who have done well with doing that. He's a little bit shorter than Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He's a little bit shorter than Drew Brees, but they've done it, and they've done it at a high level. I think at this point now that he's getting his confidence back, now the Panthers have to put a few more pieces around him. You lost Deontay Johnson, so maybe another wide receiver of that type of, mold. But then also, I'm not sold that Dave Canales is sold on him yet.
I agree with you.
Because he won't just come out and say he's our guy for the future.
Right. Well, he did say for this week, at least.
Yeah, it is for this week against Tampa, but he won't go further than that. He's being so non-committal. And so I think for his overall success in the Carolina Panthers uniform, those two guys are going to have to get on the same page and be working well together. And I also think that Dave Canales could stand to be a little bit better with the play calling as well. I mean, help him out a little bit. We spoke about this last night too.
Yeah.
Help him out a little bit and run the ball a little bit more. He blamed the Chiefs stacking the box in the first half as to why they only had 3 rushing attempts in the first half, right? And another thing, and I keep pointing people back to on Panthers playbook, it's cool that they got those wins. It's cool that they played the Chiefs close. But even in those wins, technically they weren't supposed to win that because they were outgained, and they time of possession was not in their favor in either of those games. And so you could point to just the other teams just simply falling flat on their face. The Panthers were there to take advantage of the opportunity. So at some point, Dave Canales, and this is going to be back to coaching and how you call the game, is going to have to call a game to where the Panthers can possess the ball longer and get more yards. And those two things sometimes, most times, go hand in hand. And that's not up to Bryce, but Bryce will look a lot better when those things happen.
You and I are on the same page. Chris Lee at Chris Lee TV on Twitter and on Blue Sky. Thank you very much, my friend. I'll see you at a Canes game. And have a happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Thanks. Same to you. And hopefully if I win this award next year, then we could take a nice picture with us holding up our awards together.
I'd have to go find mine. All right. Well, thank you. I look forward to that opportunity. I absolutely do.
Sir.
You're the man.
Absolutely.
That is Chris Lee. All right. Real quick before we get out of here. Chris Lee had referenced several times, I did as well, that we were chatting in the parking lot after Carolina came back to beat Dallas. So let me just spend 60 seconds on the Canes win, and I want to spend that 60 or less on one player. I want to talk about the return of Seth Jarvis, who not only was the best player for Carolina last night. I know Sebastian Aho got the game's first star, but Seth Jarvis was the best player in the game. He was my first star.
And a stash.
Great stash. But I want to talk about the little bit of leadership that Seth Jarvis showed last night in the locker room when I don't know who asked the question, and it wasn't a terrible question. Probably was an accurate question. Where are these the kind of games you're going to have to win with your goaltending situation? Meaning, you're down to Spencer Martin, and Carolina's needed to score 6 goals to win. And he went, "What are you talking about? Spencer was good tonight." Because I don't think Seth was wrong, but that's leadership. That's 22 or 23-year-old leadership being shown by Seth Jarvis. Victoria, thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends down at Diamonds Direct Crabtree. This is what you need to know. Everything she wants, everything you want for her, is at Diamonds Direct Crabtree, and it is there for less money than you are going to find anywhere else. Why? No middleman markup. You're buying directly from the people who make these incredible pieces of diamond and fine gemstone jewelry. not that long ago, got my wife a diamond and sapphire anniversary band at Diamonds Are at Crabtree. I priced it out elsewhere. I saved $2,500 by going to Diamonds Are at Crabtree. Phenomenal stuff. Barack and his team do a great job. And there's no better place to go for the holidays. Just wait until they bring in all of the designers and have all these trunk sales. You're not going to believe it. DiamondsDirect.com. You can shop online.